handling the digital, the media, the social media platform for the presidency. If you look at it, you know that they react faster than even the press secretary to the president or SA to the president, because they have, from their point, from that particular platform, they receive feedback. And immediately they tell their principal that, look, on this particular issue, this is what people are saying. On this particular issue, this is what people are saying. And immediately, the government will try to review that particular policy. I think with that, I've come to the recap of the 2 sessions we had yesterday. So, and I think I've covered those 2. The third one, I told you, when the youth hub, when they finally decide, then we'll get that across to you. I thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adewale Oyekomi, MNIPR, and Council Member, for giving us a very comprehensive review of all the sessions that we had yesterday. So if you missed any of the sessions from this recap, you can definitely find out and see that you didn't really miss anything at all. Good morning, distinguished colleagues. Welcome to day 2 of the formal Nigeria Public Relations Week 2025. Yeah. Most of us are still looking like we're trying to wake up from yesterday evening's activities. How many of us were at Ibom Hall? How many of us tasted the delicacies that were presented? I like your version of Ekpan Kupo, but you see, today we're going to have more fun activities that will make sure we taste not just Ekpan Kupo, but every other delicacy that has been prepared for us at this particular event. So if you look at your program, you realize that we're supposed to have a couple of other plenary sessions. These will be communicated in due course. I would also like to, at this time, especially thank Alhaji Kabir Ali Kobi, Council Member, who moderated the recap session, Institute of Public Relations. We must always be on time because our time is attached to our reputation. And so we must make sure that all programs today will keep to time, barring any last minute changes, that is, and we'll keep, while the recap was going on, we had the chairman of the NPR Week, Chief YBO walking. You're welcome, sir. We also had more of our professional colleagues join us, Mr. Israel and other fellow and council members. You're all welcome. Please give yourselves a warm round of applause. Thank you so much for making sure that our reputation continues to stay on track. So I don't know if the technical guys have any of our videos ready. Do we have the video for the Akwa Ibom All-Stars? If we do, please can we have that off screen while we wait for other programs to continue? So we'd like to welcome back to the podium Dr. Oyekomi, MNIPR. After giving a recap, he realized that we didn't give time for the audience to engage. So if we do have any questions, Dr. Oyekomi is back on the podium to take your questions.
Thank you, distinguished professionals. Now, after the recap, I just discovered that some of you were there at the sessions yesterday, but maybe from the recap I've given to you, if you have some comments, some additions, or, we can have you, okay? So that we don't just, though the resource persons were not here to answer, okay, YBO is here if you ask any question relating to the business of public relations, okay? And I know others are here. So, while you were at the session yesterday, if you have some things to, comments to make, let's have it now. Okay. Another microphone, yeah. Do you have?
All right, good morning. Yesterday, I attended the session that held at, that was on consultancy. It was quite an insightful session. One of the things that was made clear there is that it's not something you just dabble into. You must make up your mind on the area of your strength, your area of expertise, and you don't just become a consultant because you read public relations, you were great of mass communication. It's something you need to go and read and study and get people to, go through that tutelage and be able to prove yourself. It's also something during the session, one of the things we also got to learn is that not everybody can be a PR consultant. And by the way, there are various areas where you can actually specialize in. So why don't you find out where you have interest in and then get into it, become more knowledgeable, so that you can now do very well in it. It's not just you run a PR agency doesn't make you a PR consultant. So I think it was an insightful session, and a lot of us gained insights in how to begin, what the challenges may be, and how to get through those sessions. By the way, State chapter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's just what she just said. That is that you cannot be a jack of all trades. You must be your area. Move to the area that you are interested in and you can specialize. Yeah. Please, there's another person there. Yes.
Good morning, professional colleagues. My name is Vanessa Waso here from a key point that stood out to me at the consultancy session yesterday was that of collaboration. And where he said that even if you are not strong in an area, you can easily collaborate with another agency or another consultant. And of course, that ties down to me an idiom that says that if you want to run fast, you run alone. And if you want to go far, you go with others. Thank you.
Yeah. So, emphasizing collaboration and partnership. That means you cannot do it alone. Partner with NGOs, implement. Okay? It depends on your network. Okay? So you can partner to make sure you carry out your assignment. But first and foremost, you must specialize so that they know you for your area. Thank you very much. Yeah, somebody else.
Thank you. The major that really to all of the fundamentals of consulting. But I love what. Hello? Yes. Okay. This is better. And a very graphic way in nature, and then will allow a consultant psychiatry to treat us. That's exactly, the graphic way for us to begin to, appreciate the need for specialization. You will never have a professor of family medicine, for example, go and conduct open heart surgery. It will never happen. Or operate on somebody who has a gynecologic, condition. So that's exactly, and what we have seen is that the quacks are killing many brands and businesses, in this climb due to the fact that, they do not even know their own bounds. They do not even know the limits of their own knowledge. Thank you very much.
So any other area? So that means what he just emphasized here is mentorship, mentee. Are you ready to submit yourself for training from a professional before you can become a professional? That's the problem with quacks. And I want to tell you that the current governing council is really fighting quacks through that our law on those people that cannot practice. If you are not a professional, you cannot practice. But what we are saying here is that who trained you? Let somebody train you to become a professional in that area of your choice. Thank you. Any other one? Yeah. Please, we are going to take 2 more because we are starting the next session by 9:30. Yes. Yeah. Dr. Wisdom, are you here?
Thank you.
The name is Okode, FCT chapter. I learned something very instructive yesterday from the consulting group. I learned that we have both external and internal consultants. Those of us who work from the inside have always been seeing ourselves not as consultants, but yesterday it was made clear to us that we are also consultants. We are consultants to our organizations and chief executives from the inside. And particularly, we were advised to insist that we have access to the chief executive officers. It is not always the case that internal consultants, internal professionals, and advisors have access to the CEOs. If you do not have access as a spokesperson and as an internal advisor to the CEO, then you're not adding value. So I think that was something I learned, and I'm very grateful I was in that group yesterday. Thank you.
Any other? Okay.
Thank you, distinguished professionals. As PR people, we must keep to time. The next session, the second plenary, the next plenary is starting by 9:30, and we're already into it by 1 minute. So, where is Dr. Wisdom? Please. Okay, you invite Dr. Wisdom. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oyekomi. Please, he deserves a round of applause. And thank you to all distinguished colleagues that also shared their knowledge from what they learned from the 2 sessions yesterday. We'll have further time to continue this conversation because as public relations professionals and experts, specialists, we all need ourselves to make the Institute grow. We are already getting set for the first plenary of the day, which is Mastering the Strategy of Communication. I'd like to invite James Wisdom Abulimen to take charge of this part.
Good morning, great colleagues. You are welcome to today's section, today's plenary. And the topic before us is Mastering the Strategy of Communication. So our scholars this morning are Professor Saudat Abdul Baji, FNIPRO, and Baki. I'm sorry for that. and Adetokunbo Modukbe, member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. So I would like to lay background to this discourse this morning. Communication is the grease for lubricating any functional society. It is described as the pivot of progress. Communication plays an indispensable role in societal development and integral to various societal functions, including political organization, economic activities, social cohesion, and education. This formula provides a foundation model for analyzing and understanding communication process, especially in mass communication and media structures. Communication is complete when feedback reflects the sender's intended meaning. As our brother described just now, a council member, communication is complete when there is a variance, when the response is at variance with the intention of the sender. Today we have two distinguished scholars carefully selected to discuss the topic, Mastering the Strategy of Communication. We have Professor Sadat and Adetokunbo Modukbe. Let me just give a brief profile. Professor Sadat MNIPR is a distinguished academic and communication professional, currently serving on the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. She holds a BA and MSc degree in mass communication from Bayero University and University of Lagos. Malaysia. Her diverse career spans public relations, broadcasting, and academia, communicating her role as professor of mass communication at the University of Ilori, where she also chairs the Unilori TV. As chairman of the NIPR Kwara chapter from the year 2019 to 2023, she's spearheaded several transformative initiatives, including the widely acclaimed NIPRO Great Kwara 2017 conference outside the academic and professional space. She is an active on-air personality, public speaker, and counselor, driven by a deep passion for learning and communication and travel. Kindly let us give a hand of applause for our distinguished professor here. So we also have another speaker, Modukbe Adetokunbo, popularly known as Talks. He is a leading Africa public relations consultant and the founder of TPT International Limited. With over 30 years of experience, he has shaped modern PR practice in Africa, working across sectors such as oil and gas, banking, telecom, and government. He is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, a fellow of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, and has held key roles in several industry bodies. Talks holds degrees in international relations and law, a master's in leadership, innovation and change, and is an alumnus of Harvard, Lagos Strathmore Business School. Known for his expertise in idea entrepreneurship, innovation, and strategic communication, he is a respected thought leader in the field. I present to you our distinguished scholar. Thank you. Now, I will begin by inviting our distinguished prof here to begin her lecture. Thank you.
Is it going to be projected? Ladies and gentlemen, like it has been reviewed earlier today, the 2025 NPR Week has been very, very engaging, illuminating, and value-adding. So I'm glad to stand before you today to make a presentation on mastering strategies of communication as public relations practitioners. Let me thank the moderator of this session, who has done a very good job in foregrounding the importance of communication to all human endeavors, not only to public relations practice, but in our lives as human beings. We cannot do without communicating. So it goes to say that if the goal of public relations is to establish and maintain mutual relationship between all interacting partners, then communication becomes very, very key. We all know that there's a difference, a world of difference between communication and information. What we do in public relations is communicating, because we engage in two-way communication. We engage in sharing, we engage in exchanging, we engage in interacting with one another through the tool of communication. Now, to be able to do this effectively, we must master the strategy of communicating. So that's what we'll be talking about today. In the early days of public relations, we know that it started as information dissemination, which is a one-way communicating. It's just a matter of releasing giving press releases to the journalists from which they will write their stories. That does no longer hold sway today. The practice started from publicity, in which instance the principal or the proprietor of the organization decides whether to say anything to the public or not. Then we moved on from there to the information dissemination stage that Ivy Lee was the architect. Moving away from there, we came to the asymmetric information dissemination, in which instance organizations will only release information that will favor its own angle of view to the public. So it was a way of saying self-serving information dissemination, not for the benefit of the public, but for the benefit of the organization, thereby robbing the public of the sentiment of mutuality that public relations stands for. Then from there, we come to the symmetric communication, which is two-way, which is intended to benefit the organization as well as the public. And that, for today, is the modern public relation practice, where everybody has to be conscious that although you are serving your organization, although you want to be truthful, you want to be loyal to your principal, you must as well be loyal to the public, because you owe them that responsibility. So here, we said communication is an interactive process that involves sharing or exchange of ideas, thoughts, feelings, and opinions. We say again that effective communication is a precursor for organizational and personal goal attainment. Again, I'm saying that in this age of information overload, it is imperative to adopt the right strategy of communication to ensure that speaker and receiver are on the same page. So in this, my presentation, I'll be providing a structured guide for mastering communication strategies that empower public relations practitioners to act as trusted advisors, reputation architects, and brand stewards. What are the foundation, on what foundation is strategic communication based? You all agree with me that public relations practice is no longer limited to media outreach or reactive positioning. PR today sits at the intersection of strategy, reputation, and leadership communication. That is, beyond information dissemination, but about direction, charting a course to be followed. And that is why we say that public relations is a management function. PR practitioners must be involved in decision-making of their organization because they serve as the connecting valve between the organization and its publics. So we play very significant roles in ensuring that mutual understanding between the public and the organization is well established and sustained. When we say strategic communication, what does it entail? It entails crafting clear, consistent, and compelling messages that reflect the organization's values, anticipate audience needs, and adapt to diverse contexts. We are all at home with that very popular definition of public relations that describes it as the art and social science of analyzing trends, predicting consequences, and advising organization management on what to do. That is what we're talking about here. PR does not sit idle. You must always have a foresight of what is likely to happen. And having the foresight is not enough. You must be prepared to address it. So that means ahead of its occurrence, you must have a solution handy. It also requires us to engage in audience intelligence analysis. Audience intelligence analysis. In some other literature, they call this audience segmentation. What does it mean? It means understanding audience demographics. Who are they? What is their gender? What is their age? Where do they live? What is their educational status? All these are very essential as audience demographics. Then we have the psychographics that relate with knowing the interest of your audience. Where does their interest lie? What are their passions? What are their sentiments? What are their nuances? You need to know all this to be able to communicate with them effectively. In public relations, what we do is communicate with and not communicating to. Because when you say communication to, it is one way. It means you are just dumping your information on the public. But when you say communication with, it carries with it that mutuality, that exchange, that interaction, that spirit of sharing that we all talk about. And it gives a sense of belonging to every participant in that communication transaction. So we're also under audience intelligence. We know the behavioral patterns of our audience in order to be able to communicate with them effectively. Noting that PR is most effective when personalized. In public relation communication, we are not addressing the general public. We are addressing specific identified public whose nuances were taken into consideration in crafting our messages and selecting our channels of communication. Now let's look at the communication ecosystem. This implies understanding the communication, understanding the interdependency of tools, channels, people, and process involved in sharing and receiving messages. I have a model by the other side of the, oh, sorry, it's not clear there. but you can look it up. The model is Fulger's Communication Ecology Model 2004. Fulger is spelled F-O-U-L-G-E-R. Fulger's Communication Ecology 2004, showing how messages are created, shared, and interpreted within a system. If you look at that model, it's similar to our Shannon and Weaver model of communication, if we remember, the one with the feedback loop. It has the creator of the message, who is the source, at the first end of that model. Then at the second end, you have the consumer, who is the receiver of the message. So already in this model, we have the sender, we have the receiver. Then in between them, we have the message, communicated through language. Then we have the channel, which is the media. There are some connections between the creator and the message. And the narrative there is that the creator imagines and creates the message. That is the message you are seeing there. The consumer observes, attributes, and interprets the message. You can see the arrow, that the arrow is recursive, pointing to the message. Then, messages are communicated using language. Dr. Wale told us earlier that language is a very essential tool in talking about strategies of communication. If you speak in a language that people do not understand, you cannot say effective communication is taking place. You are only talking. They are only hearing. They are not listening because they cannot interpret what you are saying. And I want to draw our attention to another fact, that there is a world of difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is a passive act, while listening is something that involves participation. It requires your attention to be able to listen, and it is only when you listen well that you'll be able to, is through contextual meaning, through the usage of that particular word at that particular instance when communication is taking place. So that's why you have that arrow there. It says the consumer learns from the message sent, socializes with the message within the context. And this is what gives back to feedback. You see that arrow from the consumer to the creator. And that's why we say that communication is a dynamic circular process, and that it involves role reversal. At a point, you are the source, but at another point, when the receiver gives feedback, the receiver becomes the source. So in this model, we have 5 basic components, and the components are creator, consumer, message, media, language. Then we have an implied text, that is the environment. Now, after crafting your message, the next strategy that you need to consider is media selection. PR professionals must explore and select from or integrate the 4 media types. These are owned media, the media owned by the organization, such as websites, newsletters, company blogs, etc. Owned media, that is the media that you are not paying for. This you may earn by the quality of the message that you are sending out, or by the quality of the activity or the event that you are running. We all know about newsworthiness of events. We know what determines, what qualifies a particular piece of story as being newsworthy or not. The journalists also have the social responsibility to report events that are happening within the society to the people. And once you have a very good product, they will come after you. They will give you the required coverage. That is earned media. Moving away from this, we have the paid media. That is the sponsored content. This you sponsor through advertising, or you buy space in the newspaper for special publications or pullouts. And the last one is shared media. That is social media, community engagement, and the likes. Okay, I'll rush it now. Now, another important strategy is message architecture or framework. This has some components too. The message architecture of your organization is, some of our professional colleagues from Ogun State adorned Adire attire yesterday. And that is why I have by examples woven through, round Adire. But unfortunately, I don't have enough time to take them one by one. But let me give you the example of the thesis statement that I have here. I said that Adire creates eco-friendly fashion that supports Nigerian communities and celebrates our cultural heritage. This is a thesis statement highlighting the values that Adire projects. Next, you have the supporting messages that back up the core message with more details to show the impact on local communities, environment, and culture. Then you have the tone, you have the voice, you have the language. The three together lending credence to the core message that you are trying to push across. Then I said that these three work together to earn you clear and relatable communication. Then here we are again. We talk about our audience segmentation. Whom are we talking to? Are they local audiences, national audiences, or international audiences? Then channel adaptation. Having carried out your audience segmentation, we allow you which medium will resonate best with your target audience. We all know that if you are packaging a message for the youth, the medium to use is what? Social media, right? Good. Again, you need to master media relations. It is very, very important. Effective media engagement is about relationship, not just sending your stories or press releases for publication. It involves building long-term relationship with journalists. We should not be fair weather friends. We should not go after the journalists only when we need them urgently. In times of peace, let us seek them out so that in times of crisis, they'll be there for us. Then you need to do what we call expert positioning strategy. Some literature call it leadership authority management or something. Yes, it has to do with leadership, but I call it expert positioning strategy. This positions you or your brand as credible, knowledgeable, and trusted authority in your field. Our father gave us an example, a very good illustration the other time, that a psychiatric doctor cannot attend to, what did he say? A psychiatric doctor cannot attend to gynecology cases. That is it. We must be masters of our professions. We must excel, and we must be ready to prove to the world that this is my calling. I am on top of it, and I know all that it requires. Again, we need to manage public narratives. What is it that the publics are saying about us? What is their perception about our organization, about our principle, about us? This is very, very important. Call it sentiment analysis. It goes. Now, how do we manage public narratives? Number one, craft a clear core message. I gave you an example the other time. Stay visible and consistent. Monitor what is being said about you. That is, you should track how your narratives evolve. We don't have more time. We must be conscious of timing and newsworthiness. When do we send out our message that we can be rest assured that it is going to attract the attention of the public? We must act quickly to leverage on breaking news. Ensure relevance and journalistic value in all pitches. Now, in the times of crisis, there are certain things that are expected of us. Pre-crisis planning, planning for crisis before it occurs, and we can engage in scenario planning and risk auditing to carry this out. In crisis execution too, we must be very, very strategic in how we handle our communication. So also for post-crisis recovery. Our internal communication can serve as a very good leverage for us in strategic communication. Let the internal publics of your organization be your ambassadors. They will be there to defend you. You can't be everywhere, but invest in them, regardless of the departments where they work. Thank you very much for your attention. My time is up.
Thank you very much, Prof. We must agree that the Prof here has dissected the topic very well. So we'll keep our questions as we invite the second speaker, a publication consultant and member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Adetokunbo Modukbe, to present his paper. You're welcome.
Good morning. I want to take the liberty to comfortably rest on established protocols, if I'm permitted. Well, I do not know why every time I'm given a task to speak, I'm paired with a professor. This is a setup, and I know the people behind it. When a professor speaks and he's talking about all the models and all of that, you just ask yourself, will it not just be better for you to just stand up and go home? But in this business, when you are confronted with challenges, you have to dissect it and provide solutions. So what I'm going to do, I've been given a topic of mastering strategy in. I am going to look at strategy. First from historical background. We need to understand the concept of strategy because it's been overused. It's become so pedestrian that, you know, almost people don't even know what it means. We all just throw it around. Strategy. But historically, strategy became a major tool and part of life today because of people who wanted to defeat their enemies. That is to say, strategy, as it is known, was developed by the military in order to be able to harness their resources, timing, situations, and aggregate all of that to defeat the enemy. And if we look at what we do today, every time we are confronted with a situation, it's a war on its own. And then we sit down and begin to plan, how do we deal with this situation? Next slide, please. So like I said, the word strategy is one of the most commonly used words in business ecosystem. It is routinely used that its meaning no longer resonates with its importance. Strategy has become so mundane that it's loosely used for almost every pedestrian task thus diminishing its relevance. However, as often unimaginatively construed, its indispensability is embedded in its potency, particularly in reputation management. It's always the game changer and the metric button for the neoteric button for any successful activity or action. So what is a strategy? It is simply defined. It is simply defined as a plan of action designed to achieve a long-term or overall aim, or the art of planning and directing overall military operation and movements in war or battle. Simply put, strategy is an outline, planned series of action for achieving an objective. The evolution of strategy, like many theories in contemporary world, strategy started from the Greek, but they never really advanced it. And they moved from the word strategimenta to, what we have today. Even some, at a point, it was called stratagems, until what we have now. But the most impact on strategy will be traceable to Carl 1780 to 1831. He's a military figure who had so much impact on strategy. He was a Parisian general whose work entitled on war paid attention to two questions. What is war? And what purpose does war serve? Carl's view on war is that it is a duel between two independent minds. His key to strategy was always, first overall, be strong, and then at the most decisive. Hello? Check. Yes, spoke about Carl's perspective on strategy. The first, you must be strong, and secondly, at the most decisive point. But the need for discipline focus that comes from making strategic trade-off is the business parallel to that perspective. As proclaimed by the former CEO of eBay, Meg Whitman, our strategy is as much the art of exclusion as it is the art of inclusion. So what inspires strategy? It is the need for people to defeat their enemy. So contextually in our business, the need to defeat all obstacles that impede or inhibit the success of a process leading to the attainment of a set objective will naturally require a strategy. In the business ecosystem, and especially in constructive and deterrent communication, then what is the connection between public relations and strategy? The answer is very simple. You find out in the definition of PR that says, public relations is the discipline which looks after reputation with the aim of earning, understanding, supporting, and influencing opinion and behavior. It is the plan and sustained effort to establish and maintain goodwill and mutual understanding between an organization and its public. So, if strategy as construed is a plan of action designed to achieve a long-term of overall aim, and public relation is the plan and sustained effort to establish and maintain goodwill and mutual understanding between an organization and its public. Then the only contrast here will be the objective for which both are applied. While strategy is deeply rooted in warfare for enemies' defeat, public relations is founded on creating mutual understanding and building better relationships. So conceptually, strategy and public relations share the same DNA. Interestingly, public relations, it will appear, has appropriated all the elements of strategy in concept and delivery. Fittingly, the marriage between strategy and public relations is enduring, more to the advantage of the latter. Therefore, while every prayer brief presents its own kind of warfare that must be won, success will be elusive if strategy is not accorded its important role in the elastic process. Either we intend to gain public understanding with new tax reform or the fight against insurgency, strategy remains a success factor that cannot be ignored. The inseparability of strategy and reputation management. Reputation is considered to be the biggest asset in today's complex, fragmented, and competitive market. It is what makes the business person or institution stand out from the crowd with a competitive edge. Why consumers or service users pay more or less for a product or services is largely determined by the reputation. Whatever it is in making, whether it is in making a choice of the airline to fly. Some of us decide to fly Ibom Air to Uyo, and some other person for some other reason choose another airline. But I enjoyed the trip down here. I'm not going to send my invoice to Ibom Air. Oh, okay. So they paid in kind. So whether it is the choice we make when we are choosing an airline or the hotel we decide to stay in, it is the perception. It is that gut feeling in our mind that this is where I'll be most comfortable. But it's all about reputation. Now, if reputation is this important, developing and managing reputation is as critical. However, it must be admitted that developing and managing reputation is very complex. It requires expertise, well-defined strategy of ideation, presentation, and implementation. So, let us look at strategy and innovation in public relations. One of the key factors in successful public relations campaign is innovation. Innovation, which McKinsey and company define as the ability to conceive, develop, and deliver and scale new products, services, processes, and business models for customers and or clients, can indeed drive an implementable strategy. In some cases, ideation derives its relevance from innovation, which often construed as creativity in the communication industry. For a public relations practitioner to thrive, he or she must be committed to a thought process that continually employ reflective analysis of issue. We must be able to look at issue from third-party perspective so that we don't become subjective. Sometimes people look at things the way they feel. And if you want to ideate by being subjective, you can never get the answer because you'll be talking and thinking about yourself. It is the condition that allows for third-party position mindset, which often lead to clear understanding and deeper appreciation of elements that could eventually bring out fresh ideas. There are many ways innovation can be achieved, depending on the brief, but often, as practitioners, two innovation practices are very fascinating to me. First is storytelling stunts, and the other is subject hypnotism. And I'm going to talk a little about this. Storytelling stunt. In this context, a stunt is an exciting feat, performance, exploit, antics or action capable of drawing quick attention, fascination, passion, and profound interest. It allows for storytelling foundation with audience interest that can be leveraged subsequently. That is, it allows you to create that shock moment that will get everybody's attention that you can then leverage, subsequently. It is usually very potent at the introductory stage of a subject matter, a new product, the beginning of an initiative or service or product launch. Stunts can be a game changer in the storytelling strategy when creatively plotted and carefully delivered. An example was the relaunch of KFC's identity. I don't know if I can have that on the screen. What did KFC do? KFC was going to change its corporate identity, and it felt that, I know I have 10 minutes, and it felt that it would spend billions of money to be able to do that across the world. And it decided to use stunts to relaunch that identity. What did it do? It went into a desert and used tiles. I think it's about over 6,000 hectares to create the image in the desert. And what it did was just to take journalists in turn to fly across it, let them take picture and report whatever excitement that they feel. And that was a bomb all over the world. People were picking the news and sharing and using. And there was not even internet at that time. Just that stunt. One launch, and it reverberated across the world. So it's not so much about doing so many things. It's about the deepness of what you are doing. This other part is subject hypnotism. This is a very, very critical aspect of strategy in public relations. Sometimes you see some people do things, you don't know why they do it. And it's because somebody somewhere has been able to incrementally plant something in their brain, incrementally give them believability, made them hone that subject matter. Because they started from what is called a massive strategy, where the people take ownership. They understand. You share everything with them. And at the end of the day, they are ready to die for it. I don't want to use the extreme example of terrorists. But let us even look at people, fans of different clubs in Europe. Every time Chelsea plays and it doesn't go right, I lose my dinner. I feel so bad. And sometimes I ask myself, why are you in this? What have you put yourself into? But guess what? I've invested heavily emotionally in that process. So I want to feel them win. I want to see them win. I want to banter from the positive side. I don't want to be subject of ridicule from my friends. And Arsenal fans are trained, they can harass your life. They are perpetual losers, so they have mastered the art of harassing other people. Otherwise, why would a club who has not won anything serious in Europe be harassing a Chelsea fan who is the conqueror of Europe? But I will also tell you, look at obedience. When I told you they are capable of mischiefs and harassment, some people didn't believe me. But you saw what they did. Arsenal fans. Now, look at subject hypnotism. A lot of people that were supporting Obi have never voted before. They were not interested in politics. They just felt this freshness. And Obi, if you look at the man, it seems that everything works for him. He looked at that gap. Soft-spoken, you almost pity him. And he'll keep, when I went to China, and then you see, The Chinese people don't eat the way we eat. They manage their resources, and 2 billion Chinese people can eat, what 5 people will eat in Nigeria. That's how they save money. And everybody just feel that, this man is. And people started queuing behind him. Obedient. And they took it. That was subject hypnotism. You get hypnotized, you don't even know why. People ask you why. I don't even care. And he didn't have one counselor in many states. Where did the people come from? Subject hypnotism. That's our job. When you sit down, you begin to, and that's why when people say PR is art, I do not agree. We are the science in the heart. What we do, because you are turning people's brain every day. We can make people mad by consistently telling them what they don't want to hear. We can also make people very, very excited by systematically projecting whatever they see, whatever they hear, wherever they go, we are positively in their face. That's subject hypnotism. So as I round up this morning, I want to strongly say that PR is an interesting profession, but it's not for quacks. It is not for quacks. It is a profession that requires people who are deep thinkers, people who have analytical mind, who can reflect, who can see the end from the beginning. When we do things and I see people in beer parlor discuss it and they have taken an opinion, I just look at them and laugh. We have succeeded again in turning these people's brain. That's what we do all the time. So maybe sometimes we should study medical practitioner. Sorry, I would have loved to continue, but this man here is harassing my life. I was going to share with you strategic framework on how to manage thought process. Thank you. When your #1 cheerleader is the chairman of the NPR week, then nobody can stop you. I have succeeded in hypnotizing some people as well. Now let's look at how to develop a strategy. Next slide, please. Sorry, I will need the audience to see the slide. Yeah, correct. How to develop an actionable strategy in public relations. Strategy development in public relations is usually triggered by the need for proper, clear, and persuasive communication. The need is either defined in a brief. If you're a consultant, your client will give you a brief. If you're an internal PR manager, there's a need for you to communicate. That becomes your brief. So you must be able to put that brief together, even for yourself and your team, to say, what is it do we intend to achieve? And to make that work, there are steps to be followed. Understanding the brief is the first and most important at the beginning. If you do not understand the brief, you cannot respond to it. It doesn't matter what idea. You can even say, oh, it's a routine thing. We did it last week. We did it. No, every situation requires that you look at what you have done. If you have done it before, you have to look at it again. Because times and audience content consumption habits changes per minute. What they consumed yesterday, they can ignore the following day. So if you worked yesterday and you think it will work today, then you are not a strategist. So read to understand the need in the brief. Request for more information where required. Clarify any ambiguity in the brief. Break the brief into components for proper analysis. Now, developing the strategy. You must have a structured brainstorming session and share ideas with a close group. Do not be a dictator while that is on. Allow everybody to speak. Allow superior arguments to thrive. That you are number one or you are the boss does not mean that you have monopoly of ideas. There are some days that you wake up from the wrong side and somebody has woken up from the right side. Research, review, and challenge your ideas. If you have any at that stage, encourage the devil's advocate. If all of you in the room agree quickly, be careful. Challenge everybody again to rethink. Because sometimes they may be looking at your body language, this is what Oga wants, and they quickly align. That is not a very good way to ideate. Aggregate your ideas in alignment with your agreed objectives. Prepare your proposal or plan and package to simplify understanding. Introduce innovation into your proposal delivery where possible for impact. Review, proofread, and rehearse for your presentation. Familiarize yourself with the digital presentation tools because you always need it. Now, strategy implementation process. Agreed activities must be carefully and painstakingly handled by a competent person. The fact that you have great plan does not mean that you are going to have great outcome, except you have competent people to handle each component. Appropriate resources must be efficiently applied. You can't say you want to be on CNN and your budget is 1 million naira. That is wishful thinking. Great idea, defeated at implementation. Tools and talent deployed must be suitable, timeline must be strictly adhered to, and monitoring and evaluation mechanics should be established from the start. There are 3 critical junctions strategy can't be ignored. One is ideation. That is the level where you are planning and you are putting everything and trying to understand what you're doing. The second critical junction is implementation. Again, you must have implementation strategy. The fact that you have a good proposal, you have great ideas, and everybody is excited does not mean that you have succeeded. Making sure that you have implementation strategy, which you align with, is also very important. And the third critical junction is evaluation. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to place all the facts on the table. You have to be able to ask yourself, have I succeeded? Have I met the objective? If you haven't done so, sometimes we've done maybe like 90% and we've achieved our goal, but the 10% is worth reviewing so that you can take some learning from that. In conclusion, it is strongly submitted that while public relations is essentially a management function that promotes positives, its major source
Good morning, Mr. President.
To be done so that at the end of the day, when we communicate, both the organizations and the publics their interests are covered. In Nigeria today, what we hear, like yesterday, go ahead, say good things about us, say good things about us. Can you, or is it proper for us or improper for us to ensure that we are doing good things that can be reported, that our processes are good, that our concepts are good, and we make them good so that the end user can be beneficial, rather than saying communicate. And you mentioned the asymmetric and symmetric concepts of communication. If it is the two-way communication, we expect that the end user should be able to be put into consideration. That's my question, Prof.
Please, we want to give us numbers for proper, for proper coordination. So, hello, sir.
Hello.
You'll be number 3, number 4, number 5,
Number 3 is here.
number 6,
Number 3 is here. Number 3 is here.
number 7. We can't take more than. I want to limit the number of questions.
Who is number 3?
Number 3 is here. Who? Number 3, this brother here. This is our company. Number 2, number 3.
Please, you help us by keeping your questions short. All right? Don't give us another lecture. I'm sure this is a very interesting topic. We have our 2 speakers here. Please keep your comments short. Otherwise, we'll have
They
to cut
tailor their organizations in their
take a round of
image.
questions, and then we have comments. We take another short. Otherwise, we'll have to cut.
Okay, let's take this one. Number 1.
I think we should take a round of
number
questions,
2, then number
and then
3,
we have
number
time.
4.
We take another round.
Who is number 5? Okay, let's take this one. Okay, let's take this one first so they can respond. Number 1, number 2, then number 3, number 4. Who is number 5?
My name is
5.
Israel.
Okay, let's take this
Opayemi.
one first so
I'm
they can
from the
respond.
Lagos chapter. I'm a
another
fellow
one.
of the institute. My question goes
My
to
name is
you, Israel Opayemi. I'm from the Lagos
do you
chapter.
agree?
I'm a fellow of the institute.
My question
goes to you,
model.
Around
Do you agree
demographics and psychography.
this
model
that model is broken today?
around
When I see any
demographics
campaign
and psychography
that has been
that model is
crafted
broken today.
based
On that model,
when I see
I
any
can
campaign
tell you this campaign that has been, run
Crafted
on that model.
based on that model.
This campaign
I
is
can
about
tell you
the people
this
who are in this
campaign
particular age grade and all of that.
You called me
run
father
on that model
earlier
of,
today, Prof.
This
Now,
campaign is about the
at the
people
risk
who are
of
in this particular
suggesting
age
my
grade
age,
and all of that.
focus must be on the human, because focus must be on the human, because we have now become cultures in motion. Cultures in motion. So if you classify me, Prof, based on my age, you have lost me. And you'll be shocked the type of songs that appeal to me. And if you think the same type of song that appeals to the president will appeal to me, you have gotten us wrong. Thank you. Look, Mr. President just said, he said he's also young.
Good morning, all. I just want to piggyback on the 2 presentations, most especially from the Chelsea fans, so to speak. Now, everything has been said, but when you are putting your strategy together, bear in mind the end goal. What am I expecting as the outcome? Otherwise, your strategy without a clear quote implementation model is nothing but hallucination. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
5th.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dr. Peter Olumuji from FCT chapter. Yesterday, our keynote speaker talked about the positive indicators that has brought about good economic plan through which the government have been implementing. But he concluded by saying that these plans are intangibles. And the masses out there, what they want to see or hear is that the prices of bread and prices of rice are falling because they want to see what will be beneficial to them. Now, my question is this. My question goes to the second speaker. What is the best strategy that government could use to communicate to the masses? Is it by storytelling stunts or subject hypnotism? Thank you.
Okay, we'll now give room. Please, let's let them take the speaker respond. So go to the second round. The first question goes to the second speaker. Please, can you kindly respond to the first question?
Yeah. When we're talking about strategy, I think what the first question basically spoke about difficult leadership in organizations and how they like to do things their own way. And how do you thrive in that kind of system? I will also advise that what you do is to apply a better strategy of engagement. Sometimes our inability to help the leadership see the benefits of our action, is also a problem. So you can't be doing the same thing all the time and expect, the person to change. You have to sit back and look at, how do I engage my leader? How do I make him see the benefits? How do I make him see the impact that my new initiative will bring to the organization, or even the bottom line? Everybody wants success. But if you just come, this is a regular thing, you go to your boss, we need to do public press briefing, we need to do this, and the man may have been part of such processes that didn't work in the past, it will just dismiss you. So internal engagement also requires strategy of engagement. You have to be able to persuade your system to change certain things. I hope that answers that question.
Okay, thank you. The first speaker.
Yeah.
The second question goes to the first speaker. Even the third question is for the first speaker.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the question speaks to advisory roles of public relations. Probably our environment of operation does not allow us the full-fledged opportunity to carry out our roles as public relation practitioner. My response to this will be drawn from the thought leadership management concept which I explained earlier, that if public relation practitioners know their onions, their views will be respected, their views will be sought. When I was in public relation practice, I gave an offhand advice to my general manager one day. I was not conscious of the implication of what I was saying, but he followed my advice. And at the end of the day, he said, Madam PRO, thank you very much for giving me that directive. And things are changing now, thanks to the innovative environment of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. The training and retraining that we go through these days has given public relation practitioners the confidence to own up to their profession, the confidence to be in charge. When you are in charge and your view is not respected initially, when the chips are down, they'll come back to you. So the danger is in keeping quiet. The danger is in keeping silent out of the fear that your view will not be respected. That will be the greatest disadvantage that we will be doing to ourselves. I have had comments from some chief executives praising their public relation officers, how indispensable they have become within the system. And I think this is what all of us need to embrace in order to hold positions of respect, in order to hold positions of authority in our different places of work. I hope that answers that question. My younger brother, sir. I'm sorry for judging you. It has become something natural to me that when I see an elderly person, not necessarily older than me. Okay, let me say when I see a mature man, let me put it that way. When I say a mature man I feel comfortable calling them my father. I might be older than you. You understand? So please, if you take offense on that, I'm sorry. But you need to apologize to my president too. Yes. Because my president is also a Gen Z. Now, I do agree with you that the model of talking about demographics and psychographics might be old. But there are some models that are seminal, that are all-time relevant. We can't do without them, whether we like it or not. And there's no way we talk about audience segmentation that won't take this concept into consideration. You may flow with the music meant for the Gen Z, but Gen Z will not flow with the music that resonates with your generation. So if you want to craft compelling and acceptable messages, we must take this into consideration. In my study of the audience analysis, I've been made to be aware that we have three types of audiences. We have the passerby, we have the volunteer, we have the convict. The aim, the sole aim of crafting a compelling message is to be able to convert both passerby and the volunteer to convicts who will feel committed to listening to your message, whether they belong to Gen Z, Gen Millennial, or old school. You must be able to capture them by the way you craft your message. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. The last two questions, number 4 and 5, goes to the second speaker. I hope you remember the questions.
That's right. Before I go to my own question, let me add to what Elder Jaye provoked. I want him to sue me. Well, I think both sides, you know, have substantial, you know, persuasive perspective to the question. I would just add that, you know, conservatism has given way to individuality because content consumption and feasting is now democratized. So almost, I mean, all of us here this morning, we may have gotten one information or the other from devices through different platforms, WhatsApp group, internet, or whatever. So it's democratized. It's different from those days that you have to read The Guardian or watch NTA before you get your news. So that democratization has also brought about individuality. People look at what suits them, what excites them, and they go with it. So it's a case that will continue to require close evaluation in moving forward. Having said that, I will go to the question of someone asked what in government communication, what strategy should it adopt? Is it a stunt or hypnotism? I like to say that those two concepts are not, you know, all about, they're not just, there's so many strategies that can be adopted. I just use those two as case studies. Government communication is quite different from the way you communicate brand or, you know, private sector organization, because with government you always have the issue of cynicism. People, whether government intention is good or bad, people will first of all dismiss it. So it requires a different kind of approach because you have to achieve believability. So you can start with openness. When people know that government is open and sincere, they listen more. So that openness is very important. But you wouldn't expect me to even elaborate too much because I do not want to give free consultancy service here that people will not pay for. But again, it's all about strategy. Go back, you know, to your corner, reflect on what the brief is, what is it that government want to communicate, Every brief is unique, and every brief requires sometimes different kinds of strategy for you to be able to persuade your audience. So what is the other question, I think?
I think
That's
I
it.
dealt with the two questions. We were talking about proper goal setting. Okay. Okay. Please, we are constrained by time. We just want to take 5 more questions. Please go straight to the point. 5 more questions, please. One, two, 3, then 4, 5. All right. Thank you very much. So if you can just coordinate the questions, you can just answer them. All right.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Kechi Ali Balogun, Lagos State Chapter. There's a platform I belong to. Once you get to 60, you become an ancestor. And then, you know, when ancestors want to behave like Gen Zs, we call them Baba Yongi. I didn't give any example. My question is, you know, these days, organizations want return on investments. And I saw you talk about ideation, implementation, and evaluation. And I know, because this is an opportunity for some of us to ask questions they won't ask. Evaluation is a thorny issue for most public relations practitioners. I would have loved you to just give some steps, because how can you actually bring or assess your return on investments if you are not able to evaluate what you have done? Would you please tell us a little bit more about it, inputs, outputs, and outcomes, and how they affect your performance and evaluation? Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Samira Osman Adam, YPH Kano State Chapter. My question is, looking at the topic discussed, mastering the strategy of communication. If you look at the way PROs, communication officers, spokesperson, most of them use the same strategy to pass on messages to their subordinates. The simple form they use is always press release. Please, can we look at the way to call to their attention? They should leave press releases alone and look at other public ways. Like, we have so many practices for public relations. I don't know why we always stick to passing press release, press release, press release. We are tired of reading press releases. We should get more things. Like, we should get more ways, please, to pass on messages to the people they are ruling. I don't know if any of the speakers can actually look at that and look into it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Agnes Bassi from Cross River State Chapter. I want to say a very big thank you to Professor Saudaut. Thank you very much for your beautiful presentation, and you simplified your presentation very well. We all understood it. You talked about the communication ecosystem, and therein you talked about types of media. You talked about own media, armed media, paid media, and shared media. And then when you talked about armed media, you said armed media is being unpaid. And then you said paid media is sponsored. Again, when you talked about armed media, you gave advertising as a component under armed media. Was that what you said? All right, please, I really need to get more clarification when you talked about armed media. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Tawid Alimi from Osun State Chapter. My question is to our Chelsea fan speaker. So you talked about strategy, and we've been talking about communication and all. I want to know if there is a part where silence is a strategy because of the ripple effect of what speaking sometimes can cause. Thank you very much. Then please, are we going to get the slides? That's my second question. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Prof. My name is Promise Uzomokoro from Abia State Chapter. Thank you for that wonderful lecture. My question is it's not the same thing, but I want to know, when you talk about paid media, the budgeting, are we to include it at the, let's say, annual budget? Your PR annual budget, I mean in terms of the paid media when you want to use advertising, or as the case may be when there is an issue to actually advertise. I want to understand if the budgeting should be included in the annual PR budget or as the case comes up. Thank you very much.
Your question is noted. Please.
Sorry, we have one more question.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Muhammad Abubakar Sadiq from Niger State Chapter. My question is for Mr. Adik Tokumbo. In 2011, the Jonathan administration used the strategy of, I am a poor man, I have no shoes to win elections. Now, fast forward 2015, the strategy changed. Now, we also have similar case with Buhari, change, then later change or whatever name they call it. My question to you, sir, is at what point do we change strategy? Do people change strategy because of comfort, arrogance, or just sheer need to change strategy? So at what point do we change strategy? Thank you.
To take all the questions, to respond at once. Then the second speaker responds at once, then we just round up the session.
Thank you very much. To the question or the appeal to leave press releases alone, I add my voice to that appeal. Let us leave press releases alone. But do you know why we have always been sticking to press releases? It's because of the nomenclature. We have always been addressed as press officers. So that name is limiting. By that description, we believe that all we need to do is to handle press releases. And our principals flow along with us on that line. But thanks to the Ike Neliaku-led council that has brought about the issue of caderization, when we went round advocating for this caderization policy, what we tell the practitioners, especially in the ministries, is that you are not, KFC did it right, and everybody wanted to cover the story. I said when you have a quality story, when you have a very good product, people will want to cover it without you paying, because they also need your content to sell their own product. So I said it is different from advertising. Advertising is paid media. While earned media, you don't need to pay for it. And the last one, budgets is always prepared ahead of expenses. So you need to make provision for public relation budgets in the budget of the organization. It has to be there. And it is called projected budget. I'm sure Mr. Adetokunbo will add to that because he is on the field. If it is not budgeted, if it is not contained in the organization's budget, you can't go demanding that we need this amount because provision for it has not been made. So we must always make projection of how much we are likely to spend within the year for all our public relation activities and submit to the CEO for inclusion into the budget. I would appreciate if Mr. Adetokunbo can shed more light on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. I'll go to question number 4, which speaks to evaluation. I think this is a very, very critical issue in our industry because often people refer to what we do as intangible, and it's so unfortunate. And the reason why that perception has remained for such a long time is because we do a whole lot of things that we do not evaluate. You know, it's like the PR person is just an errand person. Just do it. Your boss wants to see himself on the pages of Guardian and some places, and once it's over, that is success. Everybody goes home. But increasingly, globally, evaluation is very, very important. As a matter of fact, the appreciation that we are having today, because I want to believe that PR is gaining more acceptance. And why? This is driven by the fact that we can actually evaluate what we do. We can measure it. Again, the democratization that digitalization has brought about has also been very helpful in this regard, because before, it is very easy for you to say, if you put a full page advert in this day, you know how much it is anyway. So once this is published, it means that you have value for your money, and then you go home. It doesn't matter whether certain number of people read the newspaper or not, but the person believes that he has value for his money. Whereas for PR, a PR person can then put that information in 20 platforms, and then he's being offered maybe 500,000 or less, because there is no cost to it. But because of the democratization that content consumption has, allow us to see right now, you can actually evaluate every content, but you have to also invest. In my organization, we invest in tools, global tools that will pick every single conversation, audience analysis, everything. So every single day, I can tell my client the sentiment of their target audience, if my client so desire. Sometimes weekly, I can tell my client, something will happen in the next 2 weeks based on, audience, measurement and all of that. So based on that, when I put all of that together, I can go to my client and prove to my client, based on data and facts, how much value I am adding to the organization. So if at the end of the month, I give you 100 million naira value, and I ask you to pay me 20 million monthly, that is just 20% of the value that I'm giving to you. It is different from that time where I just do all the thing and you choose to pay me whatever you want to pay me. Now it's no longer, you're no longer doing me a favor, because I can actually show the value that I'm adding to your organization scientifically. The other question is on, I would just want to add to that issue of press release. To be honest with you, we can't totally throw away press release or press releases. There are situations, especially in government, that requires the organization making specific statements for the public to be assured that government position or that institution's position is what it is. However, it can be, press release can be isolated from other tools that are required. So it's an aggregation of many tools that makes conversation persuasive. You single one out. You have to be able to make your story compelling. And sometimes press release actually give conversation direction. Because if you don't know the direction, again, we cannot assume that everybody that is out there is educated and they know how to treat content. Quite a number of people are publishers today, and ordinarily they shouldn't have any business in journalism. So we have a responsibility to be able to guide them with the kind of content that we provide, but ensure there is an engagement that is not just about dishing out press releases without people understanding the basis for the content in that press release. Someone asked if silence can be adopted as a strategy. Why not? But again, you have to ask yourself, at what stage? The timing must be right. It must be, for example, maybe you need more information. Maybe you are not fully, in charge of what is going on. You can't just be talking. So at that particular point in time, silence may be your strategy to quickly understand the issues so that when you intend, when you want to talk, you are well informed. So, but if silence goes on for too long, then it can also be very destructive. It means admittance of whatever perception people hold at that particular point in time. So you must balance it. You must understand that timing is very, very important. You can't be silent forever. And someone also asked, at what point do you change your strategy? Well, I said earlier, consumption habit of the people changes, This week, the national topic may be that happen somewhere. By next week, people have forgotten they moved to something else. So the environment, you have to understand the mood. You have to understand the mood. That's what we even call mood communication, that is driven by milestone. For instance, if tomorrow is World Earth Day, and then you choose tomorrow to start talking about entertainment, you'll be on your own. You have to understand that the mood, the conversation mood of the people is health. So you can't be talking about construction and talking about other things. So you really have to understand the mood of your audience to be able to change or retain your strategy. Sometimes you just feel that people are bored about that same message that you have been saying for a long time. And you change it to refresh so that you get their attention. Because a campaign is successful does not mean that people want to continue to hear it. At some point it becomes irritating to them. So the music that is topping the chart today can be an irritation tomorrow when another one comes. So you have to understand the audience mood to change your strategy. Thank you.
Thank you. We just want to take comment or question from our father, Anzi, this morning before we wrap up.
The President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am very impressed with the dialogue going on. But it is important to point out certain areas which we are dragging into public relations. The question of hypnotism is not part of public relations. Our job is to create
mutual colleagues. We want to appreciate all our speakers. So, the president is not on seat, but I'll call on the chairman of the National Planning Committee to present this plaque in appreciation of the. Where are the? Okay, first let me call Professor Saudat Abdulkadir. Mr. Mudupe Adetokobo.
Well, ordinarily, Tokes, I should not be presenting this to you because you abused us now today. But it's not in my car. In fact, I can't even present it to you. Mr. President, my fans will beat me. Arsenal presenting to Chelsea, God forbid bad thing. Mr. President, please come and present this thing. I refuse. That will spoil my brand. How can an Arsenal fan be giving something good to a Chelsea fan? Hello, my dear. It has been done. Please, I was hypnotized. Where's your plaque, man? Please, cut me out of this picture. My Arsenal fans will kill me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we're supposed to have a 10-minute biological break, but we are behind time. May I have your permission to just go straight to the next? It's also equally interesting. We are going to be speaking on artificial intelligence.
That's right. Thank you so much, Chief YBO. And of course, you can still claim you were hypnotized in case anybody says you didn't tell them about the biological break. So you can take your biological break in between the presentation. But I have the pleasure to invite the moderator for the next session, Mrs. Victoria Nwadoka. She will be moderating the session, the plenary on artificial intelligence and the future of communication. Please let's welcome her with a warm round of applause.
The President, Chairman of Council, my esteemed professional colleagues, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I think that AI is a very interesting subject, and it's a good way to move away from the hypnotism. But that was a very engaging session, and the marriage between strategy and PR. So before I invite our speaker for today, Dr. Ashibogu, okay, I like to say that AI is a trend, and sometimes it's been approached with fear and uncertainty. And what drives fear and uncertainty is a lack of information. So every opportunity that we have to speak about AI is super important. And I speak from the standpoint of somebody who employs AI. I use it on a daily basis. And I found that it's an aid. But will it replace us? Is AI coming to take over? The big bad monster, is it coming to take over? I'll like to invite Dr. Ashibogu to make his presentation, and then I look forward to dialogue and conversations around AI and what value and what potential impact that it has. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Ashibogu.
The President, Chairman of Council, NIPR, Council members, fellows, dear professional colleagues, good morning. My name is Monday Ashibogu. I was born on Monday and named Monday. I'll be speaking on artificial intelligence and the future of communications. I will not want to bore you with definitions and theories, but I would just want us to start with one basic thing. How many of us have WhatsApp on our phones? If you have WhatsApp on your phone, how many of us have Meta AI on our WhatsApp? Has anyone bothered to ask Meta AI about yourself? So we're going to do something today. Impute your name, correct names. My name, Monday Michaels Ashibogu. So just ask at Meta, impute your name. Right? Okay, unfortunately, I'm also a victim of the same network. So it's going to become a bit challenging. Why we'll do this? Because most of the things I'll be speaking about are more of hands-on. But if you are fortunate, by any default, the network passes by your side, you make an attempt. What it will give to you will be an aggregation of what is available about you. So when we speak about artificial intelligence, a lot of people see it as something that is so unique, something that is very peculiar. In simple terms, artificial intelligence is machine learning. And machine learning would always deal with what is readily available and the algorithms and patterns that have been used to develop it to give you end results. More often, a lot of us have been exposed to what we call generative AI. So there's always the tendency for those of us in the business of communication to rely heavily on generative AI. The world has moved far beyond generative AI to even stages of what we call emotive super artificial intelligence, meaning that the issue that we so feared we would avoid in technology has come to stay, that technology can also behave with empathy. That means you are developing certain frameworks within technology to give emotional reactions to issues. Why do we need AI? Is it important? Okay, next slide, please. Next. Just go back. This has become more often the kind of pictures you see in any time people speak about AI. Don't be deceived. AI consumes so much energy that where their servers are hosted, they consume as much as 2,000 to 3,000 megawatts per day. I'm sure some of you will know that in a bid for Google to remain quite sustainable, they started hosting most of their servers inside the sea. So cooling, the cost of energy will go down. So a lot of us just assume that most of these things, they are housed somewhere. There are servers somewhere working 24/7 in microseconds to attend to you. It's just like the way you have the Google Earth satellite, where you can at any point locate a particular village and get transitions of vehicles and humans. Even with heat transmissions, you can know where there's traffic in somewhere. But the question you should ask yourself is, there's just one satellite doing that job. How come it can attend to 600 million inquiries in a second? So the basis of technology is to make life easier. But it's also something that you should be very careful about. It's just like opium. How many of us can afford to be without our phones for 5 minutes? Don't worry, those in the front row can afford to do that. But those of us at the back, popular side, I know that some persons would attack you. They may even go violent the moment you take the phones off them.
You have to establish yourself. Let people know you for that particular area.
Why am I saying that? Technology over time. So people tend to see this picture as an interpretation of what AI is. And for some persons, the assumption is that AI just started just in the next 5 years, or no. The journey of AI started in 1953. So it will shock some of us that it's not something that started just yesterday. It started as far back as 1953. That's where we had the first documentary evidence of machine learning development that gave birth to AI. Often, most of us make these assumptions or believe that most of the technologies that we use are something that had just come up and you can easily use them. I would also want to tell you that there are two phases to it. We have what we call the open source and we have the closed source. You are privy to most times open source documents like ChatGPT. I'm sure you are not aware of most closed source applications that are being used, for example, by military. And I will also let you know that for those of you who are also privy to that information, the internet was used for 54 years by the US military before it became open to the public. So the www.thatsall had been existing within the military space for 54 years in America before it became something that's used by the public. Same with artificial intelligence. And I'm sure you are just getting to hear that there are some new fighter jets that have been used to spar with other pilots that are enabled and run by AI pilots now. So we have AI on F-35. What it means is that the assurance by my president that the only occupation that will be in heaven is PR is being challenged by technology on earth. Because most of us have moved from using AI as an enabler to making AI as a driver, it means that you become largely dependent. You ask AI for practically everything. There will always be the tendency to become intellectually lazy. And that has always been the case with students and I. Interestingly, we give out assignments to your staff, you give out assignments to students. There is always this tendency for them to quickly go to ChatGPT or some other generative artificial intelligence to run the assignments for you. Interesting to note, there are other AI tools that have also been developed to detect AI. I am sure that some of you recall when we were celebrating our 60th anniversary in Abuja. That was the period we had the Kenyan crisis. We had APRA president here, and I had this discussion with him, Eric, and it was very interesting. At the heat of the crisis, the president came on air and addressed the country to ease the tension that had been ongoing. The tragedy of it was that that speech was 92% written by AI. That also sparked another anger. What happened? One speechwriter, perhaps, who had been given the job to do, like you and I, had gone online and asked or prompted the AI to generate a speech that would be very passionate, compelling, and appealing to people who have become riotous. And AI will just simply do something. It will go through a sequence of experiences that have been kept within its server and generate a speech. And the moment that speech has been generated, there are people who would always know what we call in English language cliché. The AI is always culpable of the word clichés. There is the tendency to be repetitive in certain formats. So if you ask, when I see an article written by someone and I read, I would know whether this is AI enabled, this is AI assisted, or AI totally generated. It's not difficult because over years of research, if you are discerning, and as we said, our job is a knowledge-based job. It's not something you happen upon. For any PR professional who fails to read, you are professionally dead. And I'll say this because over time, people just assume that machines are coming. The machines are here. So gone are the days where you think that you'll find a lot of cables behind this. I'm sure some of you were privy to watch an AI tool that was quite deceptive, developed by Russia during the early stage of Russian-Ukrainian conflict. What they did, they developed a chat bot in a human hologram, a very beautiful Ukrainian lady who was said to be the spokesperson of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. The Russians did that. And she came on air in different languages to convince people why Russia is doing everything that is wrong, right, to invade Ukraine. You can get the irony. A spokesperson for the Ukraine's Ministry of Defense speaking for and on behalf of Russia. There's also the tendency for people to be gullible. Ask Google. So anything that you find on Google definitely is true and final. That's another error. So if you are as gullible as believing that everything you ask from a search engine is okay, then you are in trouble. And the reasons why we're seeing this, we're emphasizing these issues are because over time, we find students, we find employees, we find workers, we find staff who rely heavily on search engines. They are search engines, not research engines. They are search engines, not research engines. If you are not discerning, if you are not knowledgeable, there's every tendency for you to believe everything you find on digital space. There's a difference between the digital space and the social media space. AI is supposed to be an enabler that would assist you to function well. Next slide. You guys have disappeared. Okay. Next. This is introduction. This is deliberate to just prove to you that I went to school and I've studied this course over time. And so, you know, if I don't do this, my president and others who have PhDs are likely going to question why I didn't do this, particularly my professor who taught me communication. So when the slide is made available to you, you can take your time to read through this to find out whether what I've said is correct or not. Next slide. Okay. Why is AI important? Now, there are two things that we need as PR professionals. One is AI literacy, and the second part is what we call AI fluency. And why is this important? It's a critical skill. Let me just speak. One, you need it for data-driven storytelling. You need it for personalization and audience targeting. YBO will tell you that he has gone to several courses on measurement and evaluation. He doesn't seem to get it. But he would also tell you that he can't do without it. So for some of you who feel that PR job is the convenient way to escape any form of work pressure within your organization, you are in for it. You'll be fired very soon. You'll be out of jobs very soon. I want to guarantee anyone who feels that the department where they dump persons who are incompetent is the PR department, that by the end of this year, I pray, by whatever I believe, that they should sack you. Because that is not the essence of, and that's why we talked about targeting. Some of us lose relevance in our workplace because we do not provide the solution needed to define and defend public relations. And I more often listen to public servants and some private sector operators complain on why their bosses don't carry them along. They only call you to go and take care of journalists who came for an event, and you are not even involved in the invitation of the journalist. Because you have not proven to your employer that you are relevant to the objective of that organization. More often, when I listen to some persons who grumble and complain, I just need 5 minutes to stay with them to know that they're actually fundamentally part of the problem. So when you come in touch with AI, and with that kind of competence that you have, AI will give you the same kind of result in an elaborate manner. It will actually express your incompetence in a very beautiful way. And that's why you'll find most generative AI having that caveat at the bottom, telling you that this is likely to generate information that are not accurate. That warning, it's enough for any professional to know that the brain, the human brain, and the reality of your environment speaks more to what you intend to do. Generative is something you use. Generative AI tools are the ones we call the prompt AI tools. For example, a ChatGPT, Yuxo, Jaxpa, Grammarly Go, Jelly, Grapha. I can tell you about 968 different AI tools specifically designed for public relations. As at this morning, I have a friend, Celestine, you all met him in Abeokuta. We made a count this morning, 3,660 AI tools available for PR professionals. Some are generative, and some are what we call agent AI. That is moving from the generative form to more advanced and programmed forms of artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. The term artificial intelligence was coined in 1956, marking the formal beginning of a new era, and today the once impossible reality has become the most effective tool for problem solving across industries. Next slide. So we'll be moving from what we call generative, what we call weak AI tools or narrow AI tools, to AI agents, to what we call today artificial super intelligence. As we are in this hall, some cameras that some of you have, how many of you use Fold 4, Fold 3, Fold 4, Fold 5, Fold 6 Samsung? Okay. It has an AI-enabled tool for photographs. If you snap and take the photographs online, there are links available. It can give you the age of the person, the last place the person was before you had that photograph. It can also give you the name. It can also give you the location, the last known location of that individual, just from simply snapping a photograph with someone. Don't worry, well, after the class you can come to me. You pay, I will teach you. So AI is evolving over time. So we have transformational impacts on marketing, on crisis management, audience research, and personalization. AI has come to stay. A lot of people will lose their jobs. That's given. and a lot more will gain jobs from AI. If some of you who have, in one way or the other, been practicing journalism for the last 2 decades will tell you that there was a time we had some people who called the terrorists of the newsroom who were typewriters. Typewriters. I'm sure some of you have been to typing rooms those days. How they phased out over the years, that typing room is gone. Where you had to wait for somebody who would go to get plates for lithography and come back. The same is going to happen to PR. Some of you who feel that you have to have a conference to vet documents and everyone must be physically present in a room, be rest assured that you're on your way out. Next. Next. This is definition. But there's something that is very interesting here. AI is advancing at an unprecedented rate and is projected to reach a market value of $312 billion by 2027. The impact is being felt across every sector of human activity. This highlights the growing adoption of AI as a transformative trend across industries. Sadly, because of the shortcomings for the internet, I would have taken you through some applications for PR, and this is going to be limiting. But what we'll do is that I will bring out some of those applications, and then I would give the steps by steps on how we can apply them in our day-to-day jobs as PR professionals. Next, please. So these are types of artificial intelligence. We have what we call purely reactive. These machines do not have any memory or data to work with, just specializing in one field of work. For example, you have an AI enabled for chess games, football. So many of you didn't know that PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4 were all AI enabled. You could change the face of the player, create t-shirts. You could sell t-shirts in a football match that is virtual and all that. And today now, the new format you have on PS, you can play with someone in another country and you can now play for money. Gone are the days where it's just for fun. So you can, when you subscribe, they could give you those who will play with you for the fun of making money. We have the limited memory. These machines collect previous data and continue adding to their memory. ChatGPT is one. It's been designed in that way. And you must also be careful. Every technology comes with a cultural bias. So there's a tendency for you to go to generate images and you ask, give me an image of sad persons. They will give you a very sad British man. And the face of that British man does not look any way sad to a Nigerian. And because perhaps those who are behind the technology would, there's a tendency for you to always operate within your environment. And that's why we crack this joke that all global is local. The first experience you have is from your immediate environment. So there's a tendency that technology would also have this. And then you have the ones that work with the theory of the mind, dealing with emotions and thoughts. I was privileged to use one of those experimental AI-enabled ATM machines in the UK. And the longer you stay on the line, it will ask you, do you have a problem with your bank account? Are you broke? Or do you get off the line? Someone is waiting behind you. There are two beautiful ladies behind. I would like to attend to them. You're ugly and you have no money in your account. Off you go, bye. What they're doing is that they're trying to be mischievous, sarcastic, right? What are they doing? They're trying to say, how would you reason when someone comes to the counter in a bank? Because it's an automated teller machine. Ordinarily, what it should do is you insert your card to check your balance. If what you're asking for it's there, it will give to you. If it's not there, it will say insufficient funds and go off. But it just wants you to understand that if it was some teller that you wasted his or her time, he has the right to tell you fuck off. So, and that's why, no, I'm just saying this because it's important that some persons are working on this aspect that has to do with emotions and thoughts. And then you have AI machines, which we are looking at, the ones that I would call the future generation of AI, intelligent, emotional, very conscious. We are using that in what we call the war armor plates for the US military. Right? There's this robotics plate that's like a shield. It will take the same shape that I have, and then they will build it, and then they will transfer every behavioral pattern that I have and encourage that same robot to go into combat. Now, the whole idea is to reduce human casualties at warfare from their own angle. So there are more tools that will be coming. But the question now is, how does this concern us as people who are into the business of communication? We have our businesses everywhere. Healthcare, politics, government, people communicate. And we always say, the first trigger to all crises in the world is the absence of communication. Despite all that you've been hearing about Russia and Ukraine, somebody has agreed to talk now. And the moment they start talking, the crisis ends. So if AI is going to be another tool, is it going to enable effective and efficient communication, or is it going to enable a defective and a dangerous form of communication? That is also a determinant by those who use these applications. Next slide. Next. So these are categories of AI. This is the most commonly used. Generative AI, ChatGPT, Gen AI, GIA. These are capable of generating text, images, videos, and other data using generative models. This is often done in response to prompts. For example, you write a letter to me, and what I would do is I would just copy the letter you have sent to me, and I'll go to ChatGPT, and I'll keep a prompt. I say, kindly respond to this letter, expressing my disappointment and refusal to participate. Then I will paste the letter. And within seconds, it will generate a response. I'm sure some of you have not tried this, okay? If the network passes by your phone, I make an attempt. We would have done that with ChatGPT. Then we'll now come to the ones we call conversational AI. These more often are used by organizations in the absence of customer service representatives. And what they do is to keep some very specific responses to frequently asked questions. And then any other question outside that, there is a tendency for it to change its narrative by giving a response that would actually maybe be a placeholder until the person who this inquiry has been escalated to. UBA as a bank is celebrating the 5th year of using Leo. It's a chatbot, and they had that celebration. Facebook had to come in and all that. Why I'm using specific examples is that these are success stories of chatbots, but there are also failed stories of chatbots. You know, for some of us who work in some organizations where the phone number on your website is never answered, it doesn't even work. Your chatbot will ask you a question, how may I help you? You type in all the inquiries and the chatbot will not be able to give you any answer. I just ask your IT guy what happened. So something somewhere is wrong. So it has the inability to mimic a human conversation. you know. We have also the causal AI, which makes inferences by using correlation. Next, please. This is where causal AI is needed most. Next. These are trends and uses of AI across industries. Next. We will talk about marketing communications. These are more commonly used AI tools. ChatGPT, Canva, Synthesis, Synthesis.io, Copy AI, and others that are helping business create personalized. For those in creatives, they use more often Jasper and Canva. Next. For PR professionals, it will help you automate your operations. I'll give you an example. We have a measurement and evaluation tool that we use for our clients. What we do, we can prompt, we can also automate. We can tell them to say, where we have negative sentiments above 20%, kindly escalate to XYZ person via this email and give us data in chats, data in words, and data from the sources where you have generated these negative sentiments and why you believe it's a negative sentiment, given the parameters that we have created in that AI tool. So what it does is that when our clients have 20% or 25% and above, it will escalate to me, it will escalate to the guy in charge of that account, it will escalate to the PR manager, it will escalate to the CEO of that organization, and those charts will be readily available, a one-pager. Why is that important? You know, some occasions you find where you have to sit down, and some of you have worked in PR companies that you have to do newspaper cuttings. Some of you are still doing that. It's because of some of you that newspapers are still around. Because, yeah, I know them. They know themselves. They know themselves. They're always arguing prices with vendors. So, if you automate your operations, you have even more content online from news feeds than you can get from the newspapers that come out physically. I'll give you an example. For Vanguard, the Vanguard edition is not more than 32 pages print. But the content on the online version of Vanguard is over 2,000 pages if you are to put it in print. So there are some news items that you will never find in the print copy. You will find it on the online copy. So you need to automate your process to gather information. This is where AI comes to play. And if you do not know how to use such applications, you'll be in what we call the digital desert. And you are looking for an oasis that will not be found. You'll be thirsty and you will die off in the industry. So it's important that you also know the application that is relevant to your business. Yes, ChatGPT can be generic. For some of us in measurement and evaluation, we have some AMEC-enabled AI tools that we use for measurement and evaluation. There are even some free tools that you can use. Some of us even use there's a basic tool which is available for you, like Google Alerts. Use keywords. But the issue is, when you've gotten all the news items or items that you want from your keywords, who does the interpretation? So you could link your API of your Google Alert to the API of your ChatGPT, and you can also link it to your radio monitoring. How many of you know that you can monitor any radio station anywhere in the world just by sitting here? I can give you the name of the application you can use. It's called Radio.Garden. So you go to Radio Garden, you can get any radio station. If you can put it in your browser, if the internet comes near you, you can, yes. Yes, online. No, it has an API that you can use, and link to your measurement and evaluation to pick keywords. So if I, for example, I'm monitoring a client example, Tinubu, all I need to do is to put the keywords. Everywhere Tinubu is mentioned in the world on radio, it will give me that information. Then I can also look at the words that come after the name Tinubu. AI tools help make the jobs easier, but will not do the job for you. Next. 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 You know why I'm saying this is I've been told that I should get out of this place. So it's my job to chase people off the stage. So it's just okay for them to chase me out. I would speak about fraud detection and algorithmic trading. You know, gone are the days where some people think they can now invade accounts. Now, what we're having as a prevailing trend is identity theft. So what they do is that they're able to hack into somebody's account. For example, most times the prey is always someone with a fintech account, maybe like an OPay, a PalmPay, a MoneyPoint, something like that. They get your account. Once they access that account, they will use that account to spool all funds from where they've been able to hack into. And then by the time they are done with that, they start to share that fund in smaller components. Sadly, the police now has an AI tool to trace wherever you keep the money. As far as that money has moved through a digital channel, the police will get you. Nigeria police is not German police, Nigeria police. So I'm just telling you this for free. So they have the AI tool. That's why you find some guys, they've raided a place, they pick up like 400 of them. The 400 persons that have been picked means that the account has gone through 400 persons. So gone are the days where you say, because the money goes to those who are willing to upscale. So it's either you shape up or you are shipped out. Next. For learning too, I'm sure COVID taught us a lot of lessons. I, for one, I had 58 members of staff before COVID. After COVID, we had 11. And it was just simple. We just realized that we just employed people that were not doing anything. In fairness, we had a cleaner, we had an office assistant, we had an office administrator, we had HR, we had support assistant, you know. So we discovered that the tools that were made available, some of them could do that. And then we also had equipment that were coming in. I'm sure some of you got to know more about Zoom for conferences. Some got to know about WebEx, got to know about Cisco conferences, tools and all that. Before now, a lot of us need to be in one place to hold a conference. We've had 5 pre-conference webinars that would have cost us nothing less than 50 million to hold, attending 5 pre-conference webinars before this conference. So technology is making a lot of things easier in terms of learning. Next. 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 So in entertainment, there's also this issue of proprietary ownership. Who owns the content? I've asked you to write an article on the importance of AI for public relations, and you asked an AI to write. Who owns the copyright? Is it the guy who created that AI tool, or the AI machine itself, or you? So, in entertainment today, you have animations. And animations most times use what we call voiceovers. So you could get Professor Dandara now as a voiceover for a particular character, Nkechi Ali Balogun as a character, and all that, and then you do the animations. Today, they've discovered that, and it's very challenging when you do, Lamai will tell you, it's very challenging to produce animations. In fact, the most difficult production in television is for children. You have to think like a child and write for a child. It's the most difficult production. And now we have AI tools that can give you the voice of YBO. And then all you need is the script and it is YBO speaking. Who will you pay the fee, this artist sign-on fee? In Akon, there's a debate when you use AI for advertising. Who is the model that is to be paid? So there are ethical issues, there are legal issues. Next. Next. Okay. Looking ahead, the future of AI promises continued innovation and disruption across industry. Advancements in research and practical applications are expected to unlock new possibilities for solving complex and addressing societal challenges. AI has become more integrated in everyday life and business operations. This is the only way to ensure AI benefits society as a whole. And to achieve this, between policymakers, stakeholders, and research community, collaboration is important. Why we're talking about this, why AI is important. There are tools that have been made available and more tools are coming out. Question is, how relevant will these tools be? I can tell you that by next year, ChatGPT will look like BBM Messenger. And so some of you remember BBM Messenger, that you needed a pin, right? We've moved to WhatsApp. Some people have even moved beyond WhatsApp now to integrate WhatsApp to Instagram. So technology will move towards integration in the next 6 months. There are new applications that will be coming out. There's one that is out already, but by next week, you'll see the tools. Even for portable document formats, like Adobe, they've come with an AI tool that can allow you to know how many persons have edited your work that you originally own. So if I PDF a document and I share it, I can generate a link on that document. You won't see it. Each time you open the document, I will know. Each time you read the document, I will know. There's a difference between opening a document and not reading the document. You open the document, you read the document. If you edit the document, if you use the document as yours, I would also know. Some of you, if you have the new Adobe, go to your AI tools or Adobe and look at copyright issues. There's also what we call the DMCA. It's a Digital Marketing Copyright Association. That stamp is on most websites. Most of us have this habit. Each time we want to blog or generate content, we just go online and take on any available picture and use. You are heading to prison, oh. I'm just telling you in advance, because you'll be arrested when you enter a country that has jurisdiction and they've been looking for you. Don't say Nigerians witch hunting you somewhere. The reason is just very simple. Copyright issues are very essential. You don't pick images, you don't pick works of persons without giving actual credit to them. And secondly, some of them require written authorizations. Same applies to AI applications. You don't pick any image and just use it on your presentation, and it is shared. And the owner of that content finds it on maybe SlideShare or any other platforms like Google Scholar or name it, and they find your work there, and the work itself reeks of copyright infringement. So you need to be very careful. Next. Next. Because I'm not a lawyer, I would my limit to speak about ethical issues. I will only speak from the point that you may go to jail when you break the law. And ignorance of the law has never been an excuse. So don't say I didn't know. I'm just telling you now. If they didn't tell you at your place of work, note this and no peace. Don't go taking things without permission. It's the same way of stealing someone's property in his house. You know, in secondary school, you take someone's pen, you say, I tapped the pen. Don't tap anything from the internet. And that's the reason why you do not own any content that had been AI generated. It means the copyright belongs to the owners of that technology. The owners of ChatGPT own practically everything you have used on their platform. I hope you know that. You didn't see that part of the clock where you were clicking I agree. You just saw, you thought it was too voluminous and you clicked agree. Don't worry. ChatGPT owns everything you generate from there. So you need to know the ethical and legal issues concerning every AI application you use. Next. We're supposed to use these tools here, but I understand that the internet has decided to support it. I would have done Jasper, and Grammarly is good for you. But there are other advanced forms of, we have Grammarly AI detector. For those in the academia, they know that anytime you submit an assignment and you get 0, we know, because there's an AI tool that detects that you are actually an AI machine. You're not, that's not your intellectual work, that's not your property, that's not your thought. So we have Meltwater for measurement and evaluation. Meltwater can also give you digital trends. We have Sprinkler, we have Buffer. This for social media scheduling, optimization, and you find that every time someone's content is always coming up, they keep optimizing. These are AI tools that they use. I wanted to draft a press release using ChatGPT and then also create some content for those of us who find it very difficult to write a very peaceful press release. I know why I say peaceful. Some of you torment news editors with your press release. You spend the first 4 paragraphs introducing your organization before you start talking about the issue itself. Who are you? What's your problem? So please, these are the things that would affect you. News editors are persons that are in a hurry. They have a lot of people who are interested in occupying their space within that platform. And so if you could also use, ChatGPT has the one on 4.0 is optimized to help you when you push in your content. It can help you proofread. It can also help you look at your tenses. You know, I is going, I was waiting, as I was commuting, all those terminologies, we see them a lot. I've seen a lot of things. There are some that give you heartache and you wonder if that person is actually a PR professional. Like some of them who were telling people that government house, they planted vultures and reptiles under the place, as if it was part of the ritual that was used in the opening the government house. So, I mean, that shows that essentially that the guy is not a professional, he's a quack sitting within the space of PR, and we will get him arrested, he will go to jail for disgracing our profession. So, next. Ethics, next. 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 Okay, I've said this literacy, you see, they've come to chase me away, so I will have to go. Next. Next. Final thoughts. AI and other relevant sophisticated technologies, robots, have evolved over the last 30 years. So, answer. Only natural intelligence would lead the future, not artificial intelligence. Natural intelligence is actually the determinant of artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Doc. Please, I would like you to just stand by, because I know that we're going to have some questions. We have time to take about 5 questions, and I'm going to ask for the questions in a bit. But before I go into that, I want to point out something. Natural intelligence will rule the world, right? Not artificial intelligence. And if you know the secret to AI, the prompt is the thing. What are you looking for? And one thing that Prof said, Doc said, is that the AI tools, especially the generative AIs, are not research tools. They are search engines. They are search tools. They are enablers. And always to understand that every AI tool comes with biases, just like we have human biases. The human biases behind the people who create the tools will show through. So you must understand your context and understand your objectives. Those are 2 very important things. And AI has been here for long, ages and ages. You know, I always tell people that your digital footprints from 20 years ago are here. Your digital footprints, you have to be very careful with them. Will AI enable effective communications that will diffuse tensions, or will AI drive a dangerous kind of communication that will exacerbate the problems? That is up to us. And then finally, before I hand it over to you to look at, to ask your questions, is the PR process automation is dependent on your needs, and you must find the right tools or the right apps that fit your objectives. And then you must optimize your opportunity or your ability to effectively deploy these tools. Very, very important. And then with integration happening right now, we need to understand more of the AI tools. So I'm sure that Prof, if you pay him consultancy fees, like he mentioned earlier, he will be able to go deeper into that. And with that, I know that you have questions, and I'm going to take questions. I'm going to take 2 from here. Thank you, sir. Number 1. Number 2, I'm going over to this side. Number 1, number 2, that's 3 and 4, 5. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think we can take more questions. Let me take the first set of 4 questions, and then I'll come this way to take questions from this side. Thank you. I'll take it to, right, yes. And then the second person is him. Thank you. If you'll just go straight to the question, please. Thank you.
My name is Adekule Salu. Yes. Can AI help us? Yeah, Shaibu. That girl that was taken away from the north by kidnappers or whatever they call them. Can AI tell us where they are? That's number 1. Where Julius Shaibu is. That's number 1. Number 2. We read in the Bible of the Tower of Babel, right? Is AI going to tell us what should be in the humanoid that's been created? That the skin will be just like the skin that you and I have, or that we as human beings have. Can you tell us what we can use to make that skin exactly like what God has made it with us? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the brilliant presentation. You mentioned Grammarly. Does it change the authorship, or does it affect the copyright ownership if I edit my work with Grammarly? Thank you.
Thank you, my brother, for that very thought-provoking presentation. And I'm happy with your conclusion. Everywhere you go, the comment and concern is about the place of AI. But your conclusion, at least, is heartwarming. And experts will tell you that in the last 500 years, technology has not taken the place of human, and it will not. So, for me, and I would like our professional colleagues to take note of this, AI or any technology will not take the place of human oversight. The place of human oversight will remain very central to our presentation. But, Prof, I want to look at your face. Prof, I'm not seeing you. I don't know, in your presentation, you didn't link very well the place of AI, particularly in the newsroom. You have just talked about the media and you brush over it. So I thought you should take note that there are many professionals here who are combining PR with journalism. And they will be very happy to see you speak to that. So I thought you should just take note of that. Thank you.
Thank you. And the lady behind, right behind you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lois. So my question to you, Doctor, is, my question to you is on maintaining the perception of integrity through your work. And I'll give you a real life example. So sometime last year on Twitter, there was a general discourse. I think someone in the university was sharing about when she receives personal statements from people applying from other countries, and especially countries that English are not our first speaking language, and she sees some words. She actually mentioned the word delve. She assumes that it is AI. And sometimes there's people that they are very brilliant writers. Sometimes they don't make use of AI, but then with the emerging use of AI, once everybody sees a well-written piece, the general assumption is AI, generated piece. So how do you maintain the perception of integrity through your work?
Thank you very much. We'll take these 4 questions first. Please, can I have the microphone? This battery is low. Can I have that? Prof, can you answer these ones, and then we'll go to the next set to break the rhythm. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. My most distinguished pioneer registrar has asked me to look for an AI to go after bandits and kidnappers. There are tools which we call geofencing, geolocation tools, but there are also limitations, we call them human limitations in crime fighting, where you may have persons of interest embedded within human environments. And for that reason, if you are to carry out certain operations, the casualty level becomes very high. And that is why sometimes they may have intelligence gathered by satellite images, gathered by human intelligence, gathered by informants, but they cannot move into that place, given that it would also compromise the objective to which they want to rescue a victim. I'll give an instance. Kidnapping is the most complex crime any law enforcement agent in the world can handle. There are 2 things that will happen. Either that victim is rescued or the victim becomes a casualty. And for anyone who is into law enforcement, they will tell you, the objective is to save lives. And most times, they know that their own mode of operation is not governed by any rule or ethics for kidnappers. But for military, police, and other security agencies, there are ethical guidelines to their operations. For example, they cannot just open fire on a crowd. They will be held accountable. And that's what makes even the job more difficult. The only thing they can do, I'll give you an example. Some of you are aware that the DSS picked up some people at the Sokoto airport. Yeah. You are aware that the DSS picked up some persons at the Sokoto airport, and they've picked up their spouses now in Saudi Arabia. They were bandits, but they joined the people in Hajj. And those who were going for Hajj, I'm sure, never had the courage to speak out because they have their loved ones at home who may become victims to the followers of these guys. But what did the DSS do? Ensure that these guys were isolated to pick them up. So getting an information through AI or getting an information, it will not be the ultimate. It's going to enable you to do your job. It's easier to say it. When it comes to the operations, people would understand that it's more complex. Then we talked about the human mind, the skin and all that. Yes, technology can tell you a lot of stuff. It can also give you leeways to achieving such. Even in medicine, we have today AI tools that are used for surgery. We have also the AI tool now that is being enabled for people who are virtually impaired, blind persons. They put on the clip by the edge of the eye. They can now see. They are seen only in two colors right now, red and white. But as the technology improves, Elon Musk is also investing in that particular technology. So AI has gone beyond, just being generic, but we have automations, we have other technology that are embedded in it. But it's just to make life easier. It's not to change or alter how humans should deal with humanity. Then someone asked about copyright issues relating to Grammarly, and I'll tell you this. Read the terms and conditions of Grammarly. It's simple. You will get the answer there. They own everything you have done on their platform. If they want to, if there's money in it, if they want to share money with you, they will come for you. I'm telling you this because any application you use that you have not taken the time to read the terms and conditions, do not say you were not told if you're in court. Thank you, my professional colleague. He has stepped out that AI will not take the place of humans. I agree. Now, AI tools in the newsroom. Some of you are aware today that TVC has introduced AI-enabled presenters. So, AI tools are there to enable you do your jobs in terms of your scripts, your stories, for editing, for proofreading, but AI is not there to tell your story. And commonly used words in statement of purpose delve into cognitive experience, accumulated experience. Then you use certain words. These words are already there because what did the AI tool do? It aggregated different statement of purposes that have been sent online. So when you ask for a statement of purpose for the embassy, or you ask for statement of purpose, you want to write a statement of purpose for your project, and you do that, it's just very quick. The cliches are there. We'll pick it up because AI has just discovered that these are commonly used patterns for academia or commonly used patterns for people seeking for consular services at embassies. Integrity matters. Reputation counts.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And speaking to AI in the newsroom, I have seen an article on my organization, Nestle Nigeria, that mentions staff who don't work anywhere in Nestle because that article was obviously generated by AI. It will never take the place of your storytelling. It's an enabler. Thank you. And now I'll take the next set of questions. I have some lady standing right at the back who has been waving her hand since. Please, I'll take you as number one. I'll take the guy in the hat as number two because I saw his hand earlier. Please, and I'll take from the other side and then we'll come back if we have more time. We have about 7 more minutes. I'll take the gentleman in the brownish. You, sir, you looking behind. You, sir. And then there's another guy at the back, another one with the hat. Okay, so I'll take it as that. So here is number one. The lady, please come forward. Thank you. Would you please come forward? That will make it much easier for us. Yes, thank you. And then the next person, and then the next, and then the next. The 4 of you, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tolulope Olorundere from the Lagos chapter. Can I just make a quick mention that we should please consider those of us who are sitting at the back and actually have us contribute from that place. The hall is for all of us. I have 3 points I wanted to bring up for perhaps consideration and then answer. The first is, you mentioned some of the AI tools available. You mentioned some of the AI tools available for measurement in public relations. And I don't know if anybody else noticed, you'll see that most of them is really about media sentiments, public sentiments. And that actually perpetuates the perception that public relations equals media relations. And we know that media relations is really just a subset, just one of the many things that public relations do. So can I please make a submission that while AI is important in terms of measurement, it actually does public relations a disservice if all you are presenting to your clients is what the internal PR, particularly for those who are consultants on the outside. If all you are able to present to your client is reports and evaluation that their internal team also would be able to access if they had those tools, then you are not really proving the work that you're doing. Where is AI, and are there tools at the moment, for example, that, that evaluate internal results of public relations activities? How do we ensure that results of PR activities that comes from sales, that comes from marketing, that comes from HR, for example, is properly captured and shows the true value that public relations deliver to organizations? My second question and comment is that AI helps you to do the job. But in many developing economies, there are no PR jobs. You see? So one of the things I'm very passionate about is that when we talk about PR jobs or PR briefs or getting the contracts, we say that, oh, AI will help you write the contract. But here, if you are not a government worker in public relations, you are an agency who would normally get. For those of us who are just coming up, is there a way AI can help us get these briefs so that it to do the jobs? Finally, at a conference.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I'll take the next one. Sorry, we have limited time. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tolu. Yes, please. Yes, sir, please. Short and sweet. Yes.
Thank you. Mine, I'm number 2. That's why I took the mic from him. So mine is, I'm pretty concerned about, Prof, the description you gave earlier, which gives me the impression that as beautiful as AI tools are for our profession, they're still going to help us go into this silo system of work because you can stay in your room and get it done. Now, the world now recognizes that loneliness and isolation is probably a bigger problem than even cancer. So I'm asking you, because I know the typical Nigerian is a cultural person, and you've said the tools have their cultural biases. Do we have Nigerian or African generated tools that you can mention? Because I do believe those will recognize our cultural preferences. Are there tools for public relations that you think are Nigerian-centric or African-centric that you could share? If there are none, maybe that's something that we should start thinking of. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. I'm Professor Dirite Line from Bielsa chapter. My first question relates to what the last...
I'll only take one question, sir. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Please, so that others can take. So, thank you, sir.
Since he has asked a question related to the first one, I'll take
thank
the
you.
second one, which is the lecturer mentioned that I can use AI to compose my response to probably a document or even use it to write a story, which I can adapt in some way. Why shouldn't I feel that as a human being, as Homo sapiens, that I have in some way belittled the humanity in me by allowing a technology to compose something which ordinarily I should use my intellect to do? In so doing, have I not in some way reduced part of that intellect? It has made it easier for me, but why should I not feel a little uncomfortable?
All right. Thank you very much. And then the last 2 questions. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Dennis Obane, PhD.
Thank you.
All right. My name is Dennis Obane, PhD.
Harris Ubani.
I'm asking for myself and virtually for those of us in the academia. I want to ask, sir, is there a link we can follow to access this teaching? Because obviously we need to listen to it over time so we can integrate it and then get used to it. Is there a link through which we can access this lecture? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We will share, and just know that the conference is being live streamed, so if you go on YouTube, you should be able to listen to it again. But we will share a link for everybody who has been a part of this conference and will have access to that. Your question, ma'am. Thank you.
Very much. My name is Calvin Chubi Abosede, and my question is, sir, would you say technology is following man or man is following technology?
Sorry, ma'am. Okay. All right. After this, I'm going to take another set of questions. So, Prof, I'm going to ask you to keep it short and sharp so I can take the people at the back. Thank you.
First and foremost, I'm not a professor. That would amount to impersonation. As Monday Ashibogu, PhD, FNIPR, ARPA, and other fellows of other professional bodies. So, before I'm being accused of taking a title that is not mine, I'm not a professor. The lady who came forward emphasized on why I was talking about measurement and evaluation. I just looked at quite a number of applications that AI works for us as PR professionals, but I've also been careful that using the M&E, which is commonly something that gives a feedback, accurate feedback for PR professionals, particularly in media relations, is an example. It's not exhaustive. This paper do not speak to an exhaustive discourse on all aspects of public relations. If we were going to do that, then we should just then build it as a curriculum for a diploma. But what we're doing here is a plenary, and I'm also limited by time. I cannot cite examples, for example, in perception management where AI tool works. I cannot cite examples in reputations management where AI tools work. AI tools are also used for stakeholders engagement and management. There are different aspects of public relations that AI tools apply to. What I just simply do was just randomly pick, and I picked on measurement and evaluation. So I apologize that I didn't come to you in the area or the discipline that you looked forward to. Lastly, to your question, you talked about using AI tools to search for jobs. The truth remains and will always be. The true test of a PR professional is your competence and the skills that you present yourselves with. Some persons are just specialists in media relations. Some persons are specialists in perceptions and reputations management. Some persons are specialists in stakeholders engagement. Some, their specialty is investors relations. So if you know your skill and you know what is actually appropriate, you would then use the appropriate tools. And as we said, technology is here to help us get and do our jobs better. So cultural bias, and I will speak to that. I will challenge you and others who are in the tech space. There are people who are doing tech PR. One person that I would always respect is Philip Odiakose. He's gone way, way beyond this in terms of what he has built. They built customized applications for measurement and evaluation, in PR measurement and evaluation, localize them to suit the environment that they are operating in. And he's also using global applications as well. Why I'm saying this is, I can give examples. There are different professionals here who have already been able to either downgrade those applications to reflect the cultural realities of their operating environment, or some of them are already building. For us, we have built a newspaper monitoring application. And we started by monitoring print copies, and then we moved to monitoring digital copies. And it's worked for us. Why I'm saying this and I'm giving this example is because over time, cultural bias will come. And you need to relate those cultural biases, which are also determinants of technology. Prof, before the advent of technology and, let's say, digital tools, most of us went to the library to read. Books we have encyclopedias. We had the Africana session. We had authored books, first, second, up to 5th or 6th editions of books like Introduction to Psychology, Introduction to Sociology, Introduction to Communications, name them. That, as a fact, when we quoted those books and used them for our reference purposes and research and all that we did in the academia, it never reduced the humanity in us. What technology has done is to aggregate these same issues that I needed to live. I can tell you my experience as an undergraduate. Because University of Abuja had just opened, they had newer books in their library. I had to leave Nsukka to Abuja to read books that were having new editions on that topic. and there was no GSM. I had traveled from Nsukka to Kano only to find out that my uncle had been transferred to Enugu, which was just about less than 40 kilometers from where I was schooling. Because there was no technology, no phone. Why I'm saying this is it will not in any way reduce your humanity if you know what you are using it for. It's to enhance your job, make it quite effective. So, Prof, and I like the way you took it from the lighter part of life. It has not reduced our humanity, but rather made humanity better. But for those who are actually inclined to be criminally minded or mischievous, who are purveyors of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, and alternative facts, these are architects of disinformation that are creating issues using artificial intelligence. Those are the ones we should worry about. It will not in any way reduce our humanity or debase our humanity. Lastly, is technology following man or man is following technology? The choice is yours. If you depend totally on it and you are addictive on it, you are following technology. And what will happen is that it will write the story for you and tell your life for you. But the truth is, if you want to actually use AI, it should follow you. Thank you.
Great, thank you. AI, it should follow you, not the other way around. You should be in charge, not the AI. Thank you. Before I take questions from the back of the room, and I'll take the first 4 hands, I have a question. I have a note here from Professor Uwoma Uche, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Gregory University, Uturu. Please, I would like to have your phone number because the NIPR would like to follow up on this and work with you. If you could please step forward so I can get your contact details, sir. Thank you. And now from the back of the room, from where there's the demarcation at that door, if you have questions, I can take 4. The first 4, please come forward if you have questions at the back. If not, then we're done. All right. You have here. Okay, since there's no question from the back, please come forward, sir. All right. And yes, I've asked them to come forward. They will. Yes. Thank you. So I'm taking these 2 questions and we're done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, please come. Come. Sorry about that. Come. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, Ahanon Emmanuel, Edo State chapter. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful lecture. I just want to look into the angle of the first phase of your presentation, sir, which talked about being a public relations officer in civil service. Now, most of the times, I can ascribe or describe the relationship between a CEO and the public relations officer in some government agencies as an abusive marriage, whereby, for example, a woman is telling you that her husband is hot-tempered, and you are telling her, don't talk while he's talking, just know how to follow him and his moods. Now, the truth is that as a civil servant, you can even have a PhD, but you are being headed by someone who has a HND. You understand? Because civil service believes on growing through the ranks. Every 4 years, when you get to assistant director.
So sorry, please get to the question.
Okay, so where I'm going is, he said something. He said, talking about a public relations officer and relating with the CEO, that if you do not know how to, present your case, that you may actually have no case. But I am saying that most of the times, it is not always like that, because no matter how professional or no matter how good you are, they may not really want to, take your advice or flow with what you are saying because they believe in their own agenda, because you are told that the CEO is the editor-in-chief of whatever you're doing. So whatever you do still goes back to him. Now that brings me to the class we had yesterday, the breakout session.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm linking it. Hold on, please. It told us that PR consultancy, people have left the government service as civil servants and they are doing very well, outside practicing public relations, because they were not allowed to actually express themselves inside the civil service space, which of course that word civil service needs to change because it limits the thinking. So the question now is, how do you In civil service, how do you now break that barrier between the CEO and the public relation officer to ensure that your efforts are actually being recognized and
Thank you.
considered? Thank you.
Thank you. The next question. Thank you.
Thank you. Good presentation, sir. But my question is simple. You mentioned newspaper and you spoke as if it's not going to survive because we have AI and we have thousands of content there. My uncle, how is he going to manage that? Should he go back? The question is, how do we bridge the gap? Or do you still feel that newspapers are no longer useful, the hard copies I mean, because we have the online ones? What happens to the generation that is still grappling with getting, conversant with AI and all that? Thank you.
Thank you. And the last question.
All right, good morning once again. When Doctor was speaking about copyright, I was gripped with fear because when I look into the room, I noticed that a lot of people are going to prison, especially Professor Emmanuel Dandaura, who is not here. Chidinma is also going to prison. And also yourself. The reason is this. The booklet that was shared around carried a lot of pictures that are not original to us. And there is no credit to those pictures. So you now is the problem. As a professional and as a fellow, you have refused to advise NIPR to do the right thing. What do you do if there is no name? How do you ascribe credit to pictures and videos where you cannot find name? Do you use the links or do you use the sites? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very interesting question. And more interesting because recently I had to do it on who owns the copyright. I said I'm a PR practitioner and I use generative AI, proudly so, right? Who owns the data? Who owns the copyright? I carried out that research and I have a comfort zone. And I'm going to give us an assignment. Go carry out that assignment. Go read the fine print and you'll have the answer. So Prof doesn't have to answer that one. Thank you very much, Prof. Okay, you're not a prof yet.
I'm not. It's simply Dr. Ashibogu. Thank you for reminding us that all of us will go to prison. But some people have different parts of the prison they will stay. So I don't know whether it's popular side or VIP. Well, the truth is, sometimes we unconsciously do some things, but it is also important that we remind ourselves of issues that deals with ethics and copyright. There are what we call open source, closed source. I said this thing before now. Documents you take that are open sourced and said is free to use, there are, and may not be subjected to copyright issues. There are that will tell you that copyright should only be by giving them credit. And there are some that will tell you you need an expressly written permission. Where this is established, then you will know whether you have infringed on the rights of the owner of such intellectual property. So that's where I'm coming from. I don't know whether the ones I am privy to, I know that we use more of the open source where permission is expressly not required. But if there is, perhaps NIPR will be well obliged to provide you with that evidence. The future of the newspaper. Nyota is here. He's an advocate of environment. It first started with the advocacy that we should stop cutting down trees. Papers are made from trees. For some who don't know, they are made from trees. And by the time you deplete the environment, you're talking about climate change and global warming. And the question we always have is how many papers, how many copies sell? There was a time just in Kakawa alone in Lagos, they were selling 500,000 copies of newspaper. Today, no newspaper in Nigeria, I can say that with every sense of authority, can do more than 30,000 copies in a day. So the question is, the newspapers have come to stay, but in digital formats. sooner or later the print format may go. Civil service. I will say this as a joke, but I always tell anybody who is a professional, if you are a PR professional in a regimented job or government regulated job, and you are expecting somebody to tell you thank you for the job you do, go to the book of Fools, chapter 1, verse 1, which says you are a fool. It's a no thank you job. Your work will speak for you, not appreciation. And I said this, I said I have interfaced with many public servants who are PROs, and I can see the deficiency from them and the reason why their principals will not appreciate what they do. We do trainings in organizations. In Kechi Alibaluku can blare whistles. I had to train a public affairs department of an agency. They are here in this conference. And I asked the question, what is your role as a PR officer in that agency? Out of the 22 participants, none of them, including their director, could tell me what PR means to that organization. And I told them, if I was in Orosoye's report, I will merge your agency with another one. They started saying no. I said, because you have not even convinced me what you do in your organization. How much more you can convince me why your organization should exist? So why I'm saying this is very important. Know your what. Groom yourself. Train yourself. Speak like a professional. Be a professional. And once you do that, you will be boldly public relations. Otherwise, you remain a quack. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. And in a few minutes, I'll be handing over to Mr. Yakubu Lamai to speak to us about the World Public Relations Forum. Before I let Dr. Ashibogu go, okay, I'll wait a few minutes. The people who will present the plaque to him to be available. And before you leave the room, we're going to take before you leave the room, please ensure that you indicate on a barcode that we passed around that you attended the session, because as you know, this is part of our MCPD. So ensure that you indicate that you attended the session before you go. Thank you. It will come. Be patient. It's going to come to you. It's coming. Be patient. Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to invite Mazi to hand over the plaque to Dr. Ashibogu before I hand over to Mr. Yakubu Lamai. Please just sit where you are. The barcode will come to you. Thank you. Mazi, please.
Thank you very much. Please, Mazi, Michael Kereke, please, we crave your indulgence to join us on the podium to present the plaque to the presenter for this morning's plenary session, Dr. Monday Ashibogu, FNIPR, who spoke on artificial intelligence and the future of communication.
Thank you. All right.
In a moment, we'll be listening to the Director General Strategic Communications to the Nasarawa State Governor, Malam Yakubu Lamai, MNIPR, and also a member of the Planning Committee for the World...
He's the co-chair.
Or the co-chair, I've been advised, of the World Public Relations Forum, which will be coming up in November 2026. But before then, he will be presenting the plaque to the moderator of this morning's session.
Yes. That's to Victoria Wadoka, MNIPR. I'm inviting also to join in presentation Mrs. Obiageli from FAN, Director at FAN, to please come and join for this presentation along with very distinguished Malam Yakubu Lamai.
Oh, it's yours. Congratulations. Yes. Okay, this way? Okay. It's my singular honor and pleasure to present this certificate of appreciation from the NIPR to Victoria Wadoka, MNIPR. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
While that is going on, a few announcements. Number one, we have ATM cards belonging to Tijani Fatai. Tijani Fatai. If you're the one, please come with proof of ownership to collect your ATM cards. Members who have not been accredited for voting should try to do so immediately after this session. The Election Accreditation Committee is in front of the hotel. You just step out and you see them. Those contesting for election should also endeavor to submit the passport photographs of their polling units to the Election Planning Committee immediately. Thank you. We now yield the floor. This is very important. It's about the WPRF, the World Public Relations Forum, and the co-chair of the National Planning Committee, very distinguished Malam Yakubu Lamai, Director General at Nasarawa State, heads this. Sir.
Thank you very much. I realize that we're very hungry, so I'll just give you a very sweeping overview of the World Public Relations Forum. But I think if we have to say a word or two about the World Public Relations Forum, we must begin by asking the question, who speaks for Nigeria? What the NIPR has done is to take a very bold, very, very bold step, unparalleled step, to speak for Nigeria by bidding for and successfully getting the right to host the World Public Relations Forum. Now, this event is going to happen in November next year. It seems like it's very long from now. No, it's quite near. We're hosting 126 countries in Nigeria. Now, a few of us might know of FESTAC, the second Black African Festival of Arts and Culture, which held in 1977. In FESTAC, or during FESTAC, Nigeria hosted, I think, about 84 or 89 countries. But NIPR is going to host 126 countries. Yesterday, the national president, Dr. Oke Neliaku, who just returned from Venice, Italy, was saying that, look, it's been a very long, very tortuous road. For those that were in the hall, you remember, you know, finally when we got the 17 votes and South Africa got 2 votes, and they were saying before this time that Nigeria was insecure, Nigeria was a barrage of everything. So for us, there's going to be very huge work. And this work is bigger than MAMSA, the one that Professor Jerry Gana did, or the one in 1984 by General Buhari then, War Against Indiscipline, or the one by late Dora Akunle, the one on the Heart of Africa project, and that one where they were saying, great nation, good people. This is going to be bigger. Because what is the perception of Nigeria when you go into the international arena and you ask people, you and I are here, we love our country. Timi Dakolo says it, doesn't he? We believe in Nigeria and the promise it holds. You see, somebody was talking about the Gen Zs and so on and so forth. So basically the point I'm saying is that we believe in Nigeria. We believe in the promise this country holds. But when you listen to this lady who is the first female black leader of the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, her name is Kemi Badenoch. Her actual name is Adegoke Kemi. She was born in Lagos. She lived in the United States before she moved to the UK at the age of 16. And she says of Nigeria, there's a country plagued by corruption. There's a country that wherever you go, there's fear that inhabits you because you're in Nigeria. Look, before I was coming up here, you know, there was something that I was looking out. I was just looking for that scrap of paper where she said that I find it, and these are the words of Kemi. She said, I find it interesting that everybody defines me as being a Nigerian. I identify less with the country than the specific ethnicity, Yoruba. I have nothing in common with the people from the north of the country, Boko Haram, where Islamism is being being Yoruba is my true identity, and refuse to be lumped with modern people of Nigeria who are our ethnic enemies. This is the leader of the Conservative Party of the United Kingdom today. Her parents both are supposedly from Nigeria, and that was why the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, was saying, look, if you don't like Nigeria this much and you're denigrating your ancestral heritage, please remove Kemi from your name. You know what she said? She said that she is not Nigeria's public relations representative, and that she tells the truth as she sees it. In 1982, there was a gentleman called Ambassador Ozumba Mbadiwe, K.O., the one that was ambassador plenipotentiary and extraordinary. Dim Chukwuemeka Ojukwu said the man was grand, that his speeches, you know, everything he says was grandiose, and his speech was grandiloquent. Mbadiwe was a politician, he was a minister, but he epitomized the true values of being a Nigerian. He loved Nigeria. And I remember one time when, during the maiden flight of Nigeria Airways, when it was existing, Mbadiwe did a PR campaign. He called it Operation Fantastic, where he carried the Atilogu downstrip, the Igbo Atilogu downstrip, and they did their maiden flight on Nigeria's airways from Lagos to New York. We, as NIPR, must epitomize what Nigeria represents truly. The government has done campaigns like Not in Our Character during Sani Abacha's period. We have seen Great Nation, Good People. We have seen the Heart of Africa project. We have seen MAMSA. There's a national orientation campaign. But because of the distrust that is embedded in the hearts of our citizens, people still do not believe that there's credibility. And that is why I always would salute our president, Dr. Ikenna Eliaku. And when he stood up before 126 countries, he said to them, this Nigeria, today's Nigeria, just as in the words of Timi Dakolo's song, is a country of promise. We're home of kingdoms and empires. The cultural mosaic and the diversity of Nigeria is so beautiful that you'd actually think you're in the Garden of Eden. And for those who come to the very fringe countries of Africa and just go around, you haven't come to Africa because you haven't come to Nigeria. Out of every 8 black persons you see in the world, 4 are Nigerians. We represent the best of what represents the black race. And that was why Nelson Mandela said, except Nigeria gets it right, the rest of us that are black and Africans will not. So for us, WPRF, the World Public Relations Forum, is our second chance to redeem ourselves. We will bring 126 countries to Nigeria, to Abuja. Do you know they don't even know Abuja? They actually, the whole barrage and the tirade about Nigeria ends in Lagos. They still talk about Molues, they still talk about so many things. And that was why they were asking the president, what kind of food do you eat in Nigeria? You know, but basically, we have outlined the National Planning Committee for the WPRF. We have told them that the NIPR has 36,000 members. Timeliness, decorum, panache, finesse, seamless transitions, elegance, oratory, poetry, the power of our music, who we are and what we represent will be reflected for Nigeria. This is what we want to show with this event. The event would be in November, and it would coincide with the Silver Jubilee of the Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management. There would also be the grand meeting, the AGM of APRA, which will hold. So it's a 3-in-1 event. Every one of you would represent Nigeria. We have been thinking fantastically for us. We have so many ideas. We would run through the country. We will have clusters in every chapter speaking about Nigeria. Because again, the problem is we as Nigerians have to begin to think and believe in our own country. I think that's the first step. So some of us might lead the way, but essentially it behoves on all of us to show what Nigeria truly is. And we have brought out a lot of things. We have spoken to the presidency, and the president would give them, you know, a presidential banquet at the villa. But we want to see if we can take over Eagle Square and do a proper welcome for them, where we would have multiple or triple stages. We would have Timi Dakolo sing his songs. We'll bring all of those mystical, including the cultural dances that we saw yesterday. We would bring white chariots, and we would show them what is beautiful and unrevealed about Africa, so that they can come back and know that indeed, in the face of the corrosive or the systematic corrosion of cultural memory, that they think they know so much about us, we will be the ones to tell our own story. So we have 15 minutes, and we're just letting you know that the National Planning Committee, and I'm humbled to be co-chair, would be bringing out so much from promotional jingles, from, you know, saying if we can even have an entire event channel on DSTV, a program running on channels AIT and Arise, all through the next 15 months, while we still build the very first University of Public Relations. We will matriculate, by God's divine grace, inshallah, we would matriculate the first set in that university when they arrive in November. We're leaving no stones unturned to make sure that the World Public Relations Forum holds. And we need every NIPR member, every person, to epitomize the best values of Nigeria if you believe in Nigeria. When the president was making his speech last week, we had to quickly put this 2-minute video that I'd like you to see. Before he made his speech, said, here's an introduction to Nigeria. Video, please kindly play this. And I'd like to say, have a wonderful lunch. We even told them that when they come, we would have a 30 hours tailor. They would have a Nigeria souvenir item, a shop, and so on and so forth. So it's all ideas are welcome. The sky is just the beginning for all of us. So believe in Nigeria, believe in NIPR. We will do what government hasn't done, and I can assure you that we have all the corporate bodies, the Dangotes, FAN, they're here with us. Everyone is here, and everybody would speak for Nigeria. We'd even get Dr. Ojeme to use his baritone to sing the Nigerian anthem. You know, it's such a touching anthem. You know, that anthem is really, when I hear him sing, I feel like crying. You know, truly. I mean, it's that anthem, this Nigerian anthem is really deep. So watch like they did there and convince yourselves that you're... Yes, the theme, our slogan is no wahala. Whatever happens, when they go back, they'll say, yes, these Nigerians, everything about Nigeria, there is no wahala. Watch. When you say WPRF, you say no wahala. Watch it.
Thank you very much. So let's watch the video.
The most populous country in Africa, Nigeria, where public relations has a pride of place. Nigeria, endowed with oil, gas, and natural resources, one of the biggest democracies in the world. This is a place of diverse cultures and the home of great kingdoms and empires. In Nigeria, where music, fashion, talent, creativity, and traditional festivals still hold sway, a warm welcome awaits the Global Alliance of Public Relations. We are committed to establish the first ever University of Public Relations and Leadership. Welcome to Nigeria, home of plenty. Here we have no wahala.
I'm beginning to fall in love.
You're beginning to fall in love with Nigeria, and that I just want to add that, of course, we want them to discover Nigeria in different languages and so on. And when they go back, you know, just the way they dance some of our Afrobeat, and they'll be picking up, you know, slangs in Pidgin, in our various languages. It's going to be eclectic. It's going to be a melting pot of entertainment as a backdrop to having the seminar. I can assure you that for the very first time, we will do something that is world class, but we can't do it without you, without NIPR. So we salute our leadership. We salute you as members. And please epitomize the best values of this country. That is essentially why the campaign has just started. The campaign has started, and we intend to turn a new page and revamp and restore this country. Thank you for your brief audience. You guys can go and have lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malam Yakubu Lamai, MNIPR and co-chair of the World Public Relations Forum. So when you hear WRPF 2026, what do you say?
No wahala.
When you hear MPRW 2025, what do you say? When you hear NIPR, what do you say?
Boldly.
Well, boldly public relations. A round of applause for yourselves, but we do it the Ayaya way. Thank you very much. Please, a reminder, earlier, Madam Victoria asked us to scan a barcode. So if you have done that already and you've not been able to register online, do not be afraid. As soon as you go out, because most of us are having challenges with network inside of the hall. So as soon as you step out and you get Wi-Fi signal, data signal, and you're connected, please fill the forms. It's very important for us to be able to plan effectively our tourist attractions and visitation for Friday. And also the emails have been sent with the particular link for you to fill the forms online. So please, we crave your indulgence to do that as well. I'm very sorry, I seem to be standing in between you and your lunch, but we need to make this quick announcement and make these quick presentations to some of the participants and presenters that we had yesterday. Please, I crave your indulgence to invite the newly minted Dr. Abdullahi Maywada, MNIPR, to receive his plaque for his presentation yesterday. His presentation was on advances in government policy and regulatory communication. To present this award
is someone he knows very well.
Next, please join me to welcome to the podium Mrs. Tolulokpe Olorundero, MNIPR. She made the presentation yesterday on the business of public relations for consultants. She was part of the presenters for yesterday alongside Dr. Nkechi Ali Balogun, FNIPR. Mrs. Tolulokpe Olorundero, are you in the hall? If you're in the hall, please make your way forward. All right, she's not in the hall.
Okay, so since she's not in the hall, we'll just move on to the announcement for food. But please note that you would need your meal tickets this time. And because the location for the food is not so big, once you're done, please just exit. Thank you.
So this is how we'll be having our lunch for this afternoon. For the first floor, first door, it's for members with their meal tickets. First floor, first door. Members with their meal tickets, please make your way there. And just as my co-MC has announced, please, we'll go in batches as we do not have enough sitting area. And once you're done with your lunch, please vacate the dining room. For the elders, for the council members and fellows, please go to the first floor, second door. That's the Elder Ubong Obot Hall. That hall is where the council members and fellows of the institute will be having lunch. The first floor of the gallery, that's this wing here, is for all members. The second floor is also for all members. Please, if you have paid but have not collected your delegate's bag, which contains your meal tickets, please go to the registration booth. That's if you didn't do that yesterday. Please do that today with evidence of payment to collect your meal tickets. At this juncture, I'd like to say, bon appetit. We'll have you back here, please, in the next 45 minutes, where we'll be taking the plenary session that will focus on a very important topic. Please be here for us to talk about understanding influencer marketing and management. Enjoy your lunch.
There's an announcement for NIPR members FCT chapter. There will be group photograph later this afternoon for NIPR members FCT chapter, and just right here in the hall. And just after the meeting this afternoon, FCT chapter will have a special get-together just outside, the group photograph in the hall, and a special get-together arranged by FCT chapter. Don't forget that the president is a member of FCT chapter. So if you are an FCT chapter member, you can't miss that.
Royal Fathers
See you there.
Roundtable is indeed a novelty, and I want to appreciate the organizers of the conference, and of course the leadership of our institution for the idea of not just making our Royal Fathers a part of this year's meeting, but creating for them a special segment meant to engage and expose them to the ways and means by which they can leverage the tools of public relations. Please permit me to suggest that the Royal Fathers Roundtable should be made a permanent feature of our future AGMs.
It is a known fact that by effectively utilizing their public relations skills, our traditional rulers can significantly enhance their role in attracting corporate social responsibility initiatives by building strong relationship with companies, communicating the needs of their communities effectively, and demonstrating the positive impact of CSR initiatives.
It would have been proper for us not to be involved on such a seminar, a council meeting. Therefore, I want to thank you very especially today for this inclusiveness. We are here today to learn new things, to have this level of collaboration with the traditional institutions. So I believe very strongly that today the council will teach us new ways of managing information so that we'll be able to pass this message to the people at the grassroots.
Communication management in the community is so important. The relationship management skills and the capacity of the traditional ruler is key to his ability to successfully navigate these difficult situations. When the community is in conflict, the traditional ruler must draw on public relations, conflict resolutions, diplomacy, and related skills to stabilize the politics. And all these skills that we need are in public relations.
Reputation can be destroyed in a moment, but it takes a process to build. Your reputation is your reality, and it is very important to drive that proactively, to decide how you want to be known, and also build communication around how you want to be known.
If you are sitting in council and members of your council do not understand what you are talking about, that vision will not be realized. And so you must give them training as much as you train yourself. And so we want to use the opportunity to appeal that traditional institutions across the country should liaise with the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations to equip traditional rulers on how to manage some of these complexities at the community level.
The message of public relations is the message of peace, the message of building relationship, the message of strengthening your network, the message of believing in who you are and using who you are to get what you want. I want to congratulate each and every one of you for agreeing to be part of this exercise this afternoon. Driving every culture starts and rests with those who are ready and willing and excited and available to help to drive that culture.
Good afternoon once again. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the NIPR Youth Hub. Of course, the gathering brings together young professionals, students, and enthusiasts passionate about public relations and communication. We believe that at the end of this event, we will have the exchange of mutually beneficial relationships and knowledge. And I am also here to learn.
On behalf of the Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Yaudo Ndayo, I want to sincerely welcome NIPR. Thank you for choosing us. And please continue to create a mutual relationship with the University of Uyo.
On that note, I'd like to invite our dear distinguished panelists who are all really early to mid-career professionals, Mr. Folusho Adeogun, Mr. Moyosoro Bola Olonade.
Every individual, we have our uniqueness. Look at yourself. What are the skills you have that you can give out to different organizations?
Products like density talk will sell at itself naturally. That is the power of genuineness.
Keep building your capacity gradually. Let me tell you, you can't dance on TikTok for the next 20 years to remain relevant.
It takes courage and it takes someone with a good heart to put up such resources and put up such events for young bees like us.
Thank you, all participating schools.
It's good that you have come just as we unbundled so that our students will know that there is a hope and a future for them.